Time, monster. You don't belong in this world.
It was not by my hand that I was once again given flesh.
Hey, what the fuck is going on? Dude. We skipped one part. Damn. Oh, are we doing the thing? No, we didn't. Okay. Mary, we're doing the thing. Yes, we did. Where's the die monster? We did thing. H. O. ... Istvaldsaevksbdaskst. Scroll up, homie. Skaish davesadst. Okay, again.
Time, monster. You don't belong in this world.
was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute.
Tribute? You steal men's souls. Make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
Gamer.
But enough talk.
Bye, monster.
Fuck.
Ha!
JK Sach Stabs Sack Sads.
Chew.
Bye.
Okay, I gotta do a little fiddly do. See. Fiddly do. See, do that. And then. Bit. Oh, okay. Aha, enable that. Yeah. Cable output.
What do you got there?
Oh, snack.
Holy shit.
Okay, cool. I can hear you. Great. It's working.
Whoa. Oh, I can hear me. Hello.
Say stuff, Bebop.
Hello. I'm here to scream.
Yes.
That's it. I'm only here to scream.
Just
That's
to
what I was
scream.
hired for, and that's what I'll be doing.
Oh, okay, cool. Yay. They can hear you now. Yay.
Okay, well, I can't hear stream audio then, because I hear myself, and if I hear myself, then I can't speak good. It's okay though. I'll look at them, and there's like a 93.8% chance I'll already know the meme, so I'll know the audio that goes with it.
Okay.
All right. Eidolon informed me that I am contractually obligated to read two synopsises.
Once your
of
pizza's
these books
delivered,
on Amazon
have some
before I
fucking
can't see
pizza.
my rat family ever again. So I'm gonna read them now.
Yay.
This is very serious. No one laugh. Don't laugh. This one is for a drama novel called Space Raptor Butt Invasion by Chuck Tingle. And here's the synopsis. Space can be a lonely place, especially when you're stationed by yourself on the distant planet Zorbus. In fact, Lance isn't quite sure that can last the whole year before his shuttle pod arrives. But when a mysterious visitor appears at Lance's terraforming station, he quickly realizes that he might not be so alone after all. Soon enough, Lance becomes close with this mysterious new astronaut, a velociraptor. Together, they form an unlikely duo, which quickly begins to cross the boundaries of friendship into something much, much more sensual. It's not gay if it's a man and a dinosaur, is it? This erotic tale is 4,100 words of sizzling human on, I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say on Twitch, on gay dinosaur action, including anal, blowjobs, rough sex, and space raptor love.
We're
that's
marked as
one
an 18 plus stream, so.
Perfect. So that's our first one. No one laugh. And then we have another one.
This is art.
This one is also a very serious. This one, I think, is based on true events, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Pounded in the Butt by My Handsome Sentient Library Card, who seems otherworldly, but in reality is just a natural part of the priceless resources our library system provides. This one's also by Chuck, so don't laugh. Here's the synopsis. Mark is having a rough time in his new apartment. The place is small, and it's impossible to focus when his neighbor won't stop making and subsequently popping balloon animals. Things are looking bleak, but when it appears there might be a solution to Mark's problems in the form of a magical artifact, he jumps at the chance to find it. Now, Mark is on the hunt for a magical object known as the library card, but spelled cool. The man's hunt leading him to a nearby public library. It's only here that Mark realizes his quest isn't quite as magical as he initially thought. Or is it? With the help of a handsome, sentient library card named Yorko, Mark is about to discover the true power of the library with a hardcore gay pounding. This erotic tale is also 4,100 words on the dot, I guess, of sizzling human on gay sentient library card action, including anal, blowjobs, rough sex, and archived knowledge love. For all of you knowledge lovers out there.
Oh, that's my favorite.
No one laughed, right?
Everybody who
Okay.
laughed doesn't get banana stickers.
Everyone who laughed is losing 1 star sticker on the board today.
Okay. So, as you already know, if you're already here, I'm Eidolon. This is Bebop, my raccoon friend. We're in a cursed library sewer, and we're going to read the original shit fiction, The Eye of Argon. Now, it's not quite as wild as a lot of different stories, but it is like fucking a middle schooler who does not know how to write really wants to write.
That's me.
Yeah.
I wrote this.
You're this. Then, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Jim Thies? Jim Fies?
All the letters are silent.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and try to pronounce it, and I'll tell you if it's like how close you are.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Cool.
It could use a little work, but you know.
Okay. You may also notice that Bebop has chalky milk. I have a plate of brownies. It's a pretty traditional type of quote-unquote drinking game in writer circles to kind of read off some paragraphs, and if you laugh, you lose, basically. So that is what we are doing today.
I have 1 real-life gallon of chocolate milk that I bought for today.
And I have
I hope to consume all of it.
Yes. It will be a glorious night. I've got a pile of small brownies that I made earlier today, nice and fresh. Wonderful. I'll be eating them without milk.
Truly a horror story in its own.
Mm-hmm. The chocolate mouth clog will be incredible.
My God, I hope they're not too dry.
I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty.
Okay,
It's not that it's dry. It's that it's thick and cakey.
Oh no.
All right. So Stream has a view of kind of the quote-unquote printed version. This was a short story that was submitted to a fanzine back in the day, like way back in the day. And it's been kind of like cobbled together in this recreation. Yeah, there's some cakes in the fucking chat. Awesome. So we got like OSFA. I forgot what that fucking abbreviation even means. But apparently their mascot...
Small, funny animals.
Yeah, apparently their mascot is some alligator named Chad, I think? Gad? Yeah.
Well, I hope we can make it to the meeting. August 30th.
Dude, me too. Let's see, when was it? August 30th, September 27th.
Every year.
Okay, yeah, we got plenty of time.
I'll be there.
So here's like the first illustration. They don't know whether or not it's related to the Eye of Argon, but they put it up there anyway. And I put a couple of Twitch-friendly sensors.
Wait, they don't know if it's related? How'd they get this picture then?
It's like in the same... It was in the same, like, leaflet as the story.
I got you.
Alright. And I'm also going to have to get the Discord open because I can't actually fucking read that.
Even if you squint?
Even if I squint.
Oh my god.
I don't have eyeballs, I can't focus.
I don't have a brain.
Alrighty. Would you like to start us? Whoa. Would you like to start us off, or would you prefer if I do it?
Off sauce. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
Should I? So, is each little block here what we're doing?
Basically do like 4 of them, because some of them are like really short.
Okay. I gotcha. All right. Chapter 1. The Eye of Argon. The weather-beaten trail wound ahead into the dust-racked climes of the barren land, which dominates large portions of the Norgolian Empire. Age-worn hoofprints, smothered by the sifting sands of time, shone dully against the dust-splattered crust of Earth. The tireless sun...
How do you splatter dust?
You turn it into mud, and then you fling the mud, and then you dry it midair, I think.
That's some real talent.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Jim here, so...
Mm-hmm.
The tireless sun cast its parching rays of incandescence from overhead. Halfway through its daily revolution, small rodents scampered about, occupying themselves in the daily accomplishments of their dismal lives. My god. Dust sprayed again over 3 heaving mounts in blinding clouds while they bore the burdensome cargoes of their struggling overseers. He's using a lot of words here.
Oh yeah.
It's a wordy man.
He loves the thesaurus.
Prepare to embrace your creators in the Stygian haunts of hell, barbarian, gasped the first soldier. It wasn't really a gasp, but I didn't read ahead, so I didn't know what to do. Only after you have kissed the fleeting stead of death, wretch, returned Grignir. I'll do 4, I guess.
Yeah.
A sweeping blade of flashing steel riveted from the massive barbarian's hide-enameled shield as his rippling right arm thrust forth, sending a steel-shod blade to the hilt into the soldier's vital organs. The disemboweled mercenary crumpled from his saddle and sank to the clouded sward. Sward?
Yeah, the
Sward?
all the typos have been preserved as well.
Oh, perfect.
So we don't even know what the fuck he meant.
Sprinkling the parched dust. This guy has a dust fetish, I think.
Yeah, he loves his dirt.
We're arguably 2 paragraphs in, and he's brought up dust 3 times.
Yeah.
With crimson droplets of escaping life fluid.
Oh, man. Okay. The enthused barbarian swiveled about, his shock of fiery hair tossing robustly in the humid air currents. Is it dusty or is it humid? Pick
It's
one.
both. Below the knees is dusty, and then once you go up, it's humid again.
Oh wow, that's like some thick-ass clouds.
Yeah.
As he faced the attack of the defeated soldiers. Whoa. See, now I gotta deal with my own mouth typos.
Yeah, but now we can pretend like that's just how it was typed.
Awesome. Jim takes the blame.
Exactly.
As he faced the attack of the defeated soldiers' fellow in arms. Damn you, shrieked the soldier as he observed his comrade in death. A gleaming scimitar smote a heavy blow against the renegade's spiked helmet, bringing a heavy cloud over the accordion's misting brain.
Oh my god, his brain is misting.
Did he die? Did he get hit by a shotgun? What the fuck?
His brain is on the precipice of boiling, I think, at this point.
Talk about hot-blooded.
Talk about a hothead.
Damn, I need a canned laugh button. Hold on. I'm getting the canned laugh button.
Studio laughter _13 dot wave.
Here we go. Awesome. Where's the misting brain? There it is. Shaking off the effects of the pounding blow to his head, Grigner brought down his scarlet streaked edge against the soldier's crudely forged hauberk, clanging harmlessly— where's this fucking sentence going? Clanging harmlessly to the left side of his opponent. The soldier's stead, apparently, whinnied as he directed the horse back from the driving blade of the barbarian. Grigner leashed his mount forward as the hoarsely piercing battle cry of his wilderness-bred race resounded from his grinding lungs. Go see a doctor.
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
I don't either. The words are so thick that it's hard to...
There's just so many nothing words that I don't know what physically is happening in this space. I just know Grignir is fighting really good and a horse ran away.
Yeah. And it's wet and
also dusty.
Yes. It's wusty.
It's a bit wusty out here.
Mm-hmm. A bit wusty. A twirling blade bounced harmlessly from the mighty thief's buckler as his rolling right arm cleft upward, sending a foot of blinding steel ripping through the Cimmerian's exposed gullet. A gasping gurgle from the soldier's writhing mouth as he tumbled to the golden sand at his feet and wormed agonizingly in his deathbed. How do they get a mattress?
Has he been fighting one guy this whole time?
I don't fucking know, dude.
He did all that to one guy. He disemboweled him, bonked him on the head with like a cartoon hammer, lifted the sword up, cut his throat out. What the fuck is going on?
And then like disemboweled him again.
Oh my god. And then put him in a deathbed and tucked him in.
Yeah. It's night-night. Okay. It's your turn.
Grignir's emerald green orbs glared lustfully.
Whoa.
I didn't realize we were reading a Chuck Tingle here. At the wallowing soldier struggling before his chestnut swirled mount.
That's an insult to Chuck Tingle.
You're right. Chuck Tingle is art.
Mm-hmm.
His scowling voice reverberated. This is what?
This is fart.
This is shart at best.
Mm-hmm.
His scowling voice reverberated over the dying form in a tone of mocking mirth. You city-bred dogs should learn not to antagonize your better. That's what Grignir sounds like. He sounds like an evil little wizard. Reining his weary mount ahead, Grignir, not capitalized, so this isn't the guy, this is like something else, resumed his journey to the Norigolian city of Gorzam, hoping to discover wine, women, and adventure to boil the wild blood coursing through his savage veins.
He was already boiling.
Man.
Yeah.
Should I read this one?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We're doing four chunks each. Yeah.
The trek to Gorzam was forced upon Grignir when the soldiers of Kryn were released upon him by a faithless concubine he had wooed. His scandalous activities throughout the Cimmerian city had unleashed throngs of havoc and uproar among its refined patricians, leading them to tack a heavy reward over his head. This guy's been getting up to throngs of havoc.
Throngs.
Whole throngs. I don't know about you, but I go to the supermarket, I bring home a whole armful of throngs. He had barely managed to escape through the back entrance of the inn he had been guzzling in. Okay. As a squad of soldiers pounced upon him. After spilling a spout of blood from the leader of the mercenaries as he dismembered one of the officer's arms, he retreated to his mount to make his way towards Gorzam. Is this a different spelling than earlier? No, it's the same, okay. Rumored to contain hordes of plunder and many young wenches for any man who has the backbone to wrest them away. My god. Chapter 2. Arriving after dusk in Gorzom, Grignir, not capitalized again, so different guy, descended down a dismal alley, reining his horse, not is that spelled correctly?
No.
Does reining not? Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's like
His
raining,
horse
like
between
ruling.
Right, exactly. Reining his horse before a beaten tavern, the red-haired giant strode into the dimly lit hostelry, reeking of foul odors and cheap wine. He does, or the place does?
Yeah, is he smelly? He's probably smelly.
I think he's smelly. He's definitely smelly. The air was heavy with chalking fumes spewing from smoldering torches, one word, encased within Theoden's earthen-packed walls. Tables were clustered with groups of drunken thieves and cutthroats tossing dice or making love to willing prostitutes. Well, that's nice.
Grignir the cat.
Grignir the consensual.
Eyeing a slender female crouched alone at a nearby bench, Grignir advanced, wishing to wholesomely occupy his time. The flickering torches cast weird shafts of luminescence dancing over the half-naked harlot of his choice, her stringy orchid twines of hair swaying gracefully over the lithe, opaque nose. Thank God it's not transparent.
That'd be scary.
That would be really weird. As she raised a half-drained mug to her pale red lips. Glancing upward, the alluring complexion noted the stalwart giant. So her skin is like looking at him, I guess.
She's not. She's looking at something on the ground. That's why she's like crouching near a bench, not on the bench. She's not sitting on the bench. She's crouched alone at a nearby bench.
I'm thinking that she's like in the corner, just like Slav squatting.
Yeah. She's like playing marbles or something on the ground, and her skin looks at him.
Yeah. As he rapidly approached, a faint glimmer sparked from the pair of deep blue ovals of the amorous female as she motioned toward Grignir, enticing him to join her. The barbarian seated himself. Marbles. The barbarian seated himself upon a stool at the wench's side, exposing his body, naked save for a loincloth brandishing a long steel broadsword, an iron-spiraled battle helmet, and a thick leather sandals to her unobstructed view. So we can assume that he just looks like a fucking default Skyrim character.
Yeah, he took all the armor off, he unequipped everything. He also somehow unequipped the scimitar he had earlier. He's now swapped out for a steel broadsword.
Yeah. There has need to occupy your time, barbarian? Questioned the female.
Oh no.
We're not sure anymore.
We're not sure if it's her or her skin, or maybe the marbles speaking. Only if something worth offering. Oh wait, he's like a little evil wizard. Only if something worth offering is within my reach, stated Grignir, as his hands crept to embrace the tempting female, who welcomed them with open willingness. From where do you come, barbarian? And by what are you called? She's crying a little now because she doesn't get to play marbles. Gasped the complying wench as Grignir smothered her lips with the blazing touch of his flaming mouth. Holy shit. The engrossed titan ignored the queries of the inquisitive female, pulling her towards him and crushing her sagging nipples to his yearning chest. Why are they sagging? What's wrong with them? Without struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harshly bronzed, one word, of Grignir, corded. Holy fuck, this is a sentence. Without struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harshly bronze hide of Grignir corded shoulder blades as his calloused hands caressed her firm, protruding busts. Plural. She's got two.
She's two.
She doesn't have a single bust. She has multiple busts.
God. Anyway, that's
you
a fucking...
make love well, wench. I have to drink milk.
And that's a brownie for me.
You're just an evil little wizard. You make love well, wench, admitted Grignir, as he reached for the vessel of potent wine his charge had been quaffing. Quaffing? Isn't that like smelling?
I don't know.
Quaffing. Hold on.
We're learning new words today.
No, it's to drink. Okay, it's just like him being very extra. A flying foot. Huh? A flying foot caught the mug Grignir had taken hold of, sending its blood-red contents sloshing over a flickering crescent, leashing tongues of bright orange flame to the foot-trodden floor. Huh?
Yup. There's lots of feet in here.
I'm trying to put together what. So someone kicked his cup, and the wine fell out.
It's just like I think Jim is
It's
trying
just like
to paint.
overly. Right.
He's trying to paint like
He's
a very
trying
theatrical.
to paint a picture, but
Yeah.
he's done the opposite here. He's actually erased any of the imagery that existed before, and now there's nothing. It's a blank Microsoft Paint document ready for something.
The oil painting was still wet, and he kept on trying to add shit, and now everything is just brown.
Yeah. I don't even know how many paragraphs I've read at this point. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at keeping track.
That's okay.
It just keeps throwing me.
No, that's good.
I
That's
think
good.
this one's fine. Remove yourself, sir. The wench belongs to me, blabbered a drunken soldier, too far consumed by the influences of his virile brew to take note of the superior size of his adversary, crouched by the marbles.
I almost believe that the marbles were there.
They are. Can't you see it in your mind's eye now? Because of how perfectly he described it earlier, remember?
Yeah. Wait. Where were you again?
Oh, no.
Lost.
Grignir lithely bounded.
Oh, okay, there we go. Grignir lithely bounded from the startled female, his face lit up to an ashen red ferocity and eyes locked in a searing feral blaze toward the swaying soldier. Ashen red, so he's more like purple with rage at this point.
Yeah. He's becoming Barney, I believe.
To hell with you, Braggart! Bellowed the angered accordion as he hefted his finely honed broadsword. Is that still the same weapon, or did it change again, I wonder?
I think it's still a broadsword, so we're good so far. We'll see if he does an equip swap here in a bit.
Yeah. The staggering soldier clumsily reached towards the pommel of his dangling sword. He didn't have that strapped down really well. But before his hands ever touched the oaken hilt, a silvered flash was slicing the heavy air. The fuse of the savage's lashing right arm bulged from the glistening bronzed hide as his blade bit deeply into the soldier's neck. What a sentence, lopping off the confused head of his senseless tormentor.
I just want to stop you for a second.
Yeah?
It actually lopes it off. Loping off.
Oh, you are correct. He loped off the head.
Yeah, loping off the confused head. I just don't want any of the artistic vision to be lost here.
Thank you. Thank you for your dedication to the integrity of art.
Oh, of course, of course.
Well, rather the integrity of Shart.
Right.
With a nauseating thud, the severed oval... Are Oval's eyes?
You turned this man into a fucking oval?
Yeah!
Holy shit. You turned him into geometry.
As the segregated torso of Grignir's bovine antagonist, it's a minotaur.
Turned him into a cow.
Yeah, it's a fucking minotaur. Then collapsed in a pool of swirled crimson.
I gotta do a milk sippy.
In the confusion, the soldiers' fellows confronted Grignir with unsheathed cutlasses directed toward the latter's scowling makeup. Grignir's got makeup on now.
Blush.
Yeah. Oh, I have to warn for the usage of the word slut, but it's non-traditional.
In what regard?
Grignir is the slut.
Oh, true. So wait, so this is... Huh? Is he referring to himself?
No, just everybody keeps calling him a slut.
Oh, true. The slut should have picked his quarry more carefully, roared the victor in a mocking baritone growl as he wiped his dripping blade on the prostrate form and returned it to its scabbard.
Whenever I see that, I keep on misreading it as prostate.
On the prostate form.
Mm-hmm.
The fool should have... Who the fuck is speaking here? Oh, it's a soldier, okay. The fool should have shown more prudence. However, you shall rue your actions while rotting in the pits, stated one of the sprawled soldier's comrades. Grignir's hand began to remove his blade from its leather housing, but retarded the motion in face of the blades waving before his face. Dismiss your hand from the hilt, barbarian, or you shall find a foot of steel sheathed in your gizzard,
Said nobody.
said a voice, said someone.
Grignir weighed his position, observing his plight, whereupon he took the soldier's advice as the only logical choice. To attempt to hack his way from his present predicament could only warrant certain death. He was of no mind to bring upon his own demise if an alternate path presented itself. The will to necessitate his life forced him to yield to the superior force in hopes of a moment of carelessness later upon the part of his captors in which he could effect a more plausible means of escape.
Holy shit, that's a lot of words to just say he's not going to fight him because
Yeah. Suddenly he's like a fucking tactician. You may steady your arms. I will go without a struggle. Your decision is a wise one, yet perhaps you would have been better off had you forced death. The soldier's mouth wrinkled to a sadistic grin of knowing mirth as he prodded his prisoner on with his sword point.
Turned into a little raisin.
After an indiscriminate period of marching through slinking alleyways and dim moonlighted streets, the procession confronted a massive seraglio? The fuck is a hold on. The fuck is a seraglio?
Like a big lizard. A monster hunter monster, probably.
The women's apartments, or the harem in an Ottoman palace. Okay.
Same thing.
Same thing. They're going to the big lizard. The palace area was surrounded by an iron grating with a lush garden upon all sides.
The group was admitted through the gilded gateway, and Grignir was led along a stone pathway bordered by plush vegetation, lustfully enhanced by the moon's shimmering rays. Upon reaching the palace, the group was granted entrance, and after several minutes of explanation, led through several winding corridors to a richly draped chamber.
I wish
What
we
was
could have heard
explained to
those.
them? I don't know.
Yeah, I wish we could have heard that. It's several minutes worth of dialogue.
He skipped that cutscene.
Yeah.
He's saving us the time, trust me.
Thanks, Jim.
Confronting the group was a short, stocky man seated upon a golden throne. Tapestries of richly draped regal blue silk covered all walls of the chamber, while the steps leading to the throne were plated with sparkling white ivory. The man upon the throne had a naked wench seated at each of his arms, and a trusted advisor seated on his back. At each corner of the chamber, a guard stood at attention, with upraised pikes supported in their hands, golden chainmail adorning their torsos, and barred helmets emitting scarlet plumes enshrouding their heads. The man rose from his throne to the dais surrounding it. His plush turquoise robe dangled loosely from his chunky with a K frame. Excuse me, not just with a K, with a C and then a K. K would be normal.
Chunky! Pub.
Chunky man.
Oh, that's a brownie
The
for
soldiers surrounding Grignir fell to their knees with heads bowed to the stone masonry of the floor in fearful dignity to their sovereign liege. There's a comma there, so I wanted to emphasize the pause.
Explain the purpose of this intrusion upon my chateau.
Fuck. That's another one. Oh.
I'm gonna fucking vomit by the time I talk this.
I've already got residue
Oh,
gathering
no.
on the roof of my mouth.
It's over. You're already done for.
Oh man, where the fuck is even happening?
Your serenity.
There we go. Your serenity, resplendent in noble grandeur. We have brought this yokel before you. The soldier gestured toward Grigner. He said that.
Why is it a play direction now?
For the
What's
redress.
happening?
Or your all-knowing wisdom in judgment regarding his fate. Down on your knees, lout, and pray proper homage to your sovereign, commanded the pudgy noble of Grigner.
He's the noble of all of Grigner.
Fucking no, man.
Surly beard of Mrifk, Grigner kneels to no man.
Scowled the massive barbarian.
You dare to deal this blasphemous act to me? You are indeed brave, stranger, yet your valor smacks of foolishness.
Is it sugar smacks?
Yeah. Those are Grigner's favorite.
And they got like a little drawing of what we assume is the advisor.
There he is. It is so difficult to tell who the fuck is talking before you start reading.
Right?
Well, we're just gonna go with it. I find you to be the only fool sitting upon your pompous throne, enhancing the rolling flabs of your belly in the midst of your elaborate luxury and... There's a pause here, I assume. The soldier standing at Grigner's side smote him heavily in the face with the flat of his sword, cutting short the harsh words, and knocking his battered helmet to the masonry with an echoing clang. The paunchy noble's sagging round face flushed suddenly pale, then pastily lit up to a lustrous cherry-red radiance.
He's glowing.
He's beautiful. His lips trembled with malicious rage, while emitting a muffled, sibilant gibberish. His sagging flabs rolled like a tub of upset jelly, then compressed as he sucked in his gut in an attempt to conceal his softness.
What do you think the gibberish sounds like?
Something like that. The prince... He's a prince? The prince regained his statue. Not his stature, his statue. Then spoke to the soldiers surrounding Grigner, his face conforming to an ugly expression of sadistic humor.
Take his unguilty then to the vault of misery, and be sure that his agonies are long and drawn out before death can release him.
Oh. As you wish, sire, your command shall be heeded immediately, answered the soldier on the right of Grigner as he stared into the barbarian's seemingly unaffected face. The advisor, seated in the back of the noble, in his back, inside his spine. What did he do? He slowly rose from his back and advanced to the side of his master, sticking out of his side now, motioning the wenches seated at his sides to remove themselves. He lowered his head and whispered to the noble. Now I'm imagining just like this
He's
prince...
like a fucking Exodia. He's got the two arms of Maiden, the back of the gremlin, and himself.
Yeah. The center is the card of upset jelly.
Oh, of course.
Eminence, the punishment you have decreed will cause much misery to this scum, yet it will only last for a short time. Then release him to a land beyond the sufferings of the human body. Why not mellow him in one of the subterranean vaults for a few days, then send him to life labor in one of your berry mines? To one such as he, a life spent in the confinement of the Stygian pits will be an infinitely more appropriate and lasting torture. The noble cupped his drooping double chin in the folds of his briming palm, meditating for a moment upon the rationality of the counselor's words, then raised his shaggy brown eyebrows and turned
toward the advisor, eyes aglow. Holy shit. His eyes are glowing, like lasers.
He's about to shoot Grignir with the laser eye.
Oh boy, you get to try and pronounce the advisor's name.
As always, Argon Fall, you speak with great wisdom. Your words ring of great knowledge concerning the nature of one such as he.
Saith the king. The noble turned toward the prisoner with a noticeable shimmer reflecting in his frog-like eyes and his lips contorting to a greasy grin.
I have decided to void my previous decree. The prisoner shall be removed to one of the palace's underground vaults. There he shall stay until I have decided that he has sufficiently simmered, whereupon he is to be allowed to spend the remainder of his days at labor in one of my mines.
Take the Grignor off the heat and let it simmer.
Yeah, let it simmer for 30 to 40 years and then put him in the salt mines.
Mm-hmm. Add salt.
Upon hearing this, liberally, Grignir realized that his fate would be far less merciful than death to one such as he, who is used to roaming the countryside at will. A life of confinement would be more than his body and mind could stand up to. This type of life would be immeasurably worse than death. Wah, wah.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh my god. Eternal damnation and slavery in a buried mine. Boo-hoo, Grignir. Who the fuck is speaking here? This is Grignir, apparently.
I shall never understand the ways, if your twisted civilization. I simply defend my honor and am condemned to life confinement by a pig who sits on his royal ass-wooing horse and knows nothing of the affairs of the land he imagines to rule.
Exclamation point, and that's important because lectures Grignir is what follows. Question mark.
Lectures Grignir? So we're not sure if it's Grignir or not.
Grignir? Huh.
Enough of this. Away with the slut before I loose my control.
He's gonna loose it.
Oh, is he gonna loose his bowels?
He's loosing it, dude.
Oh. Seeing the peril of his position, Grignir searched for an opening. Crushing Prudence to the sword, he plowed into the soldier at his left arm, taking hold of his sword, and bounding to the dais supporting the prince. Okay, so he was a king, he's a prince, and he's a noble. How many more titles is this guy gonna get?
It depends how many people he equips. So if the counselor leaves his back, he evolves downward into a prince.
Oh wow, that's genius, actually. Huh. Let me see. The prince, before the startled guards could regain their composure, Agafnd leaped Grignir and his sire, but found a sword blade permeating the length of his ribs before he could loose his weapon. My brain doesn't know what to do with that.
His weapon.
It's permeating the length of his ribs, so now it's like molecularly bound to his bones. And he found it there.
Scary.
The counselor slumped to his knees as Grignir slid his crimson blade from Agatha's ribcage. The fat prince stood undulating in insurmountable fear before the edge of the fiery-maned comet. He's a comet now. He has flabs of jellied blubber pulsating to and fro in ripples of terror.
He doesn't like large individuals, I get a feeling. He's not very nice in describing this man.
It only happens once.
Oh, okay.
We never see this person again, I don't think.
A shame.
Also, how many drinks are you up to?
I've drinking about a third of my chocolate milk.
Okay. I had to add like 2 more glasses.
Perfect.
Where the fuck? Where am I? Ripples of flowing terror. There we go, I found it.
Where is your wisdom and power now, your majesty?
growled Grigner.
Just a little pun. Grigner's a little silly guy.
Oh, incredible. The prince went rigid as Grigner discerned him glazing over his shoulder. He swivels.
He fucking teleported behind him?
And there's, like, icing now?
He's preparing a nice glaze on his shoulder?
Oh. He slipped to note the cause of the noble's attention, raised his sword over his head, and prepared to leash a vicious downward cleft, but fell short as the haft of a steel-rimed pike clashed against his unguarded skull. Then blackness and solitude, silence enshrouding, and ever peaceful reigned supreme. I'll read this next sentence too, since we're like right next to chapter 3. You can have the entirety of chapter 3.
Oh, thank you.
Before me, sir. Before me, as always.
Nobly cackled.
Ooh. Who?
Who did that?
Who nobly cackled? Chapter 3. Consciousness returned to Grignir in stigmatic pools as his mind gradually cleared of the cobwebs cluttering its inner recesses. Yet the Stygian cloud of charcoal ebony remained, an incompatible shield of blackness, enhanced by the bleak absence of sound.
It's for Windows 95, not Windows 7.
Oh, he needs to update for sure.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
way behind. Grignir's muddled brain reeled from the shock of the blow he had received to the base of his skull. The events leading to his predicament were slow to filter back to him. He dickered with the notion that he was dead and had descended, or sunk, if you don't know what descended means, however it may be, to the shadowed land beyond the aperture of the grave, but rejected this hypothesis when his memory sifted back within his grips.
He's a
This was not the
scientist
land of
now.
Yeah, he's forming hypotheses, and he's breaking out the test tubes. He's thinking about relativity and all that shit.
Taking notes.
This was not the land of the dead. It was something infinitely more precarious than anything the grave could offer. Death promised an infinity of peace, not the finite misery of an inactive life of confined torture, forever concealed from the life-bearing shafts of the beloved rising sun.
Oh, you got a sun lover.
He's a bit of a sun lover. He's been known to flirt with the sun.
With the sun.
The orb that had been before taken for granted, yet now cherished above all else. Oh, he was taking his lover for granted, though.
That's why
Forever.
That's why he needs couples therapy.
I think you're right. Him and the sun need to sit down within a couple of feet of each other, I think.
Mm-hmm.
To be forever refused further glimpses of the snow-capped summits of the land of his birth, never again to witness the thrill of plundering unexplored lands beyond the crest of a bleeding horizon, and perhaps worst of all, the denial to ever again encompass the lustful excitement of caressing the naked curves of the body of a trim, yound wench.
Yound.
Yound! This was indeed one of the buried chasms of hell concealed within the inner depths of the palace's despised interior. A fearful ebony chamber devised to drive to the brinks of insanity the minds of the unfortunately condemned through the inapt solitude of a limbo of listless, dreary silence. Oh, this is chapter 3.5 coming up, so I hope you're prepared.
Yeah. I'll take the entirety of chapter 3.5.
Okay.
Let me scroll down. And scroll down more. There we go. A tightly rung elliptical circle or torches. So is it a circle of elliptical machines?
It's whichever. It's an either or.
It's the forbidden, dungeon gym. Cast their wavering shafts, prancing morbidly over the smooth surface of a rectangular, ridged altar. So they are dancing, and they are naked, and they are machines. Expertly chiseled forms of grotesque gargoyles grace the oblique rim. See, obliques, this is a gym. Protruberating. Is that a fucking word?
Yes. What are we saying? What's the definition?
It's a misspelling
Oh, okay.
of protuberant, which means bulging.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay, he was close.
Close enough. Protuberating, the length of the grim orifice of death, staring forever ahead into nothingness in complete ignorance of the bloody rites enacted in their presence. Brown flaking stains decorated the golden surface of the ridge surrounding the altar, which banked to a small slit at the lower right-hand corner of the altar. The slit stood above a crudely pounded pail, which had several silver mesh chalices hanging at its sides. Dangling at the rim of golden mallet, the handle of which was engraved with images of twisted faces and groved at its far end with slots designed for a snug hand grip. Now available, as seen on TV. The head of the mallet was slightly larger than a clenched fist and shaped into a smooth oval mass. Encircling the marble altar was a congregation of leering shaman, eerie chants of a bygone age originating unknown eons before the memory of man were being uttered from the buried recesses of the acolytes' deeplings. Orange paint was smeared in generous globules over the tops of priests' wrinkled, shaven scalps. How do you shave it if it's wrinkled?
You stretch the skin until it's smooth.
Oh. Secrets.
Yeah.
While golden rings projected from the lobes of their pink ears. Bright pink. Beautiful. Ornate robes of lusqueur, purple satin, enclosed their bulging torsos, attached around their waists with silvered silk lashes latched. That's a fucking tongue twister right there. Silvered silk lashes latched.
Someone taught this man alliteration and he ran with it.
He ran, he broke his leg, and he kept running.
And then he broke the other leg.
And then he broke the other leg. And then he never rode again.
Crawled. Oh no.
Hi, Zaizan! Also, fucking shout out to Diz for the sentence, the sun slut Grigner.
I'm a bit of a sun slut myself.
I'm more of a moon slut.
Oh, true. We gotta think of a word that begins with M so we can truly follow in the graces of John.
Oh. I got nothing.
Yeah, me either. Someone will think of something.
Someone think of something. Not the children, though.
No, definitely not them.
Silvered silk lashes latched, with ebony buckles, in the shape of morose, misshaped skulls. Oh, they're sad!
Just a little sad.
So sad. Dangling around their necks were oval-fashioned medallions held by thin gold chains, featuring in their centers blood-red rubies, which resembled crimson fetish eyeballs. Whoa. That's a new one. Cushioning their bare feet were plush red felt slippers with pointed golden spikes projecting from their tips. So you gotta scroll down the thingy. Okay. Situated in front of the altar and directly adjacent to the copper pail was a massive jade idol, a misshaped, hideous bust of the shaman's pagan deity. Not deity, deity. The shimmering green idol was placed in a sitting posture on an ornately carved golden throne raised upon a round, debris-plated dais, its bulging arms and webbed hands resting on the padded arms of the seat. Its head was entwined in golden snake-like coils hanging over its oblong ears, which tapered off to thin hollow points. Its nose was a bulging triangular mass sunken in at its sides with toe-gaping nostrils.
Not toe gaping.
Toe gaping?
Oh no.
That's something
This
you
is a
don't want.
fetish story.
That's something you don't want in your search history. Toe gaping.
I'm on a list now for sure.
Absolutely. Dramatic beneath the nostrils was a twisted, shaggy-lipped mouth giving the impression of a slovering, sadistic grimace. Somebody get him some lip balm. At the foot of the heathen deity, a slender, pale-faced female, naked but for a golden jeweled harness enshrouding her huge outcropping breasts, supporting long silver laces which extended to her thighs, stood before the pearl-white field with noticeable shivers traveling up and down the length of her exquisitely molded body. Her delicate lips trembled beneath soft, narrow hands as she attempted to conceal herself from the piercing stare of the ambivalent idol. Glaring directly down towards her was the stony, cycloptic face of the bloated deity. Gaping from its single oblong socket was a scintillating, many-faceted scarlet emerald. Scarlet emerald.
Yeah, you know, a little fusion.
Just a little fusion. A brilliant gem
little
seeming to
fusion.
possess a life all of its own. A priceless gleaming stone capable of domineering the wealth of conquering empires. The Eye of Argon. We finally got a title drop.
Oh shit, we found it.
Yeah,
we
3.5
found the Eye of Argon.
chapters. Anyway, that chapter
Alright.
had nothing to do with Grigner.
Yeah, I didn't know what. I thought it was a different story for a second. I didn't know what the fuck was really going on.
We had an untelegraphed scene change.
Yeah, we cut away to like a flashback, but no one told us. So we were just there, and we just had to accept it. I guess that's why it was 3.5. Okay, now it all makes sense.
I guess so.
All right. Chapter 4.
I do have a warning about this chapter. There is a rat death.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to head out then.
Shit.
All
Dizzy.
right, I'll when when it comes up, I'll pretend I don't know, it's something else. Chapter 4. All knowledge of measuring time had escaped Grignir. When a person is deprived of the sun, moon, and stars, he loses all conception of time as he had previously understood it. It seemed as if years had passed if time were being measured by terms of misery and mental anguish, yet he estimated that his stay had only been a few days in length. He has slept 3 times and had been fed 5 times since his awakening in the crypt. However, when the actions of the body are restricted, its needs are also affected. The need for nourishment and slumber are directly proportional to the functions the functions the body has performed, meaning that when free and active, Grignir may become hungry every 6 hours and witness the desire for sleep every 15 hours. Whereas, in his present condition, he may encounter the need for food every 10 hours and the want for rest every 20 hours. Are you all keeping... This is going to be on the test. Keep notes of how often Grignir needs to sleep when he's both active and inactive. All methods he had before depended upon were extinct in the dismal pit. Hence, he may have been imprisoned for 10 minutes or 10 years. He did not know, resulting in a disheartened emotion deep within his being. Grignir is depressed.
He's very depressed. Get him the fucking... Dude,
Get this guy some fucking help.
get him some help. Get us some chocolate milk.
The food, if you can honor the moldering lumps of fetid mush to that extent, was borne to him by 2 guards who opened a portal at the top of his enclosure and shoved it to him in wooden bowls, retrieving the food and water bowels from his previous meal at the same time, after which they threw back the bolts on the iron latch and returned to their other duties. Since deprived of all other means of nourishment, Grignir was impelled to eat the tainted slop in order to ward off the pangs of starvation. Though, as he stuffed it into his mouth with his filthy fingers and struggled to force it down his throat, he imagined it was that which had been spurned by the hounds stationed at various segments of the palace. There was little in the barren vault that could occupy his body or mind. He had paced out the length and width of the enclosure time and time again, and tested every granite slab which consisted the walls of the prison in hopes of finding a hidden passage to freedom, all of which was to no avail other than to keep him busy and distract his mind from wandering to thoughts of what he believed was his future. That was all one sentence.
God.
He had memorized the number of strides from one end to the other of the cell, and knew the exact number of slabs which made up the bleak dungeon. Numerous schemes were introduced and alternately discarded in turn as they succored?
Those plans sucked.
Yeah, as his plans sucked to unravel to him no means of escape, which stood the slightest chance of success.
Yeah, I can take over. Those were some big chunks. Anguish continued to mount as his means of occupation were rapidly exhausted. Suddenly, with no tithe, he was rousted from his contemplations as he detected a faint scratching sound at the end of the crypt opposite him. The sound seemed to be caused by something trying to scrape away at the granite blocks the floor of the enclosure consisted of. The sandy scratching of something like an animal's claws. Rigner gradually groped... Grigner gradually groped his way to the
Gradually groped got you?
Gradually.
Oh no.
The alliteration got me. He groped his way to the other end of the vault, carefully feeling his way along with his hands ahead of him. When a few inches from the wall, a loud penetrating squeal and the scampering of small padded feet reverberated from the walls of the roughly hewn chamber. Rigner threw his hands up to shield his face and flung himself backwards upon his buttocks. I'm scrolling for the benefit of the audience. Where's his butt? There we go.
Behind him, I think.
I found his butt. A fuzzy form bounded to his hairy chest, burying its talons in his flesh while gnashing toward its throat with its grinding white teeth, its sour fetid breath scorching the squirming barbarian's dilating nostrils. Why are you opening your nose more?
So the rat to climb in there.
Very welcoming. Grigner grappled with the lashing flexor muscles of the repugnant body of a gargantuan, brown-hided shat. Oh. I put that there. Striving to hold its razor teeth from his juicy jugular, as its beady gray organs of sight glazed into the flaring emeralds of its prey. Taking hold of the grodent around its lean, growling stomach with both hands, Grigner pried it from his crimson-rent breast, removing small patches of flayed flesh from his chest in the motion between the squalid black claws of the starving beast. Holding the grodent at arm's length, he cupped his right hand, not his right hand, his right hand, over its frothing face, his fingers into a vice-like motion. The grodent let out a tortured squall, drawing scarlet as it violently dug its foam-flecked fangs into the barbarian's sweating palm, causing his face to contort to an ugly grimace as he cursed beneath his breath. With a loud crack, the grodent's head parted from its squirming torso, sending out a sprinkling shower of crimson gore and trailing a slimy string, of disjointed vertebrae, snapped trachea, esophagus, and jugular, disjointed hyoid bone, morose, purpled, stretched hide, and blood-seared muscles. Did he look at fucking Grey's Anatomy for this?
Yeah, he watched the rat episode.
Damn. Flinging the broken body to the floor, Grigner shook his blood-streaked hands and wiped them against his thigh until dry, then wiped the blood that had shouted his face and from his eyes. Again sitting himself upon the jagged floor, he prepared to once more revamp his glum meditations. Meditations, but revamped. Meditation 2.
Meditation Remastered. Now for the PlayStation 5.
See, this text is so dense that I look away for a fucking second. And then I can't find my place again. There it is. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
He told himself that as long as he still breathed the gust of life through his lungs, hope was not lost. He told himself this, but found it hard to comprehend in his gloomy surroundings. Yet he was still alive, his bulging sinews at their peak of marvel, his struggling mind floating in a myriad of impressed excellence of thought. Plot after plot sifted through his mind in energetic contemplations. Then it hit him. Minutes may have passed in silent thought, or days, he could not tell, but he stumbled at last upon a plan that he considered as holding a slight margin of plausibility.
I just want to say that rat put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah,
all
it
things
did.
considered.
It like
This
tore out.
man was single-handedly killing other men like it was fucking nothing. This rat almost beat his ass. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, it like took off a whole peck. Oh man.
Oh, thank God there's a rat emoji here. Otherwise, I would have been lost too. He might die in the attempt, but he knew he would not submit without a final bloody struggle. It was not a foolproof plan, yet it built up a store of renewed vortexed energy in his overwrought soul, all one word. Though he might perish in the execution of the escape, he would still be escaping the life of infinite torture in store for him. Either way, he would still cheat the gloating prince of the succored revenge his sadistic mind craved so dearly. The guards would soon come to bear him off to the prince's buried mines of dread, giving him the sought-after opportunity to execute his newly formulated plan. Groping his way along the rough floor, Grignir finally found his tool in a pool of congealed gore. The carcass of the decapitated rodent. The tool that the very filth he had been sentenced to spawned. When the time came for action, he would have to be prepared, so he set himself to rending the sticky hulk in grimed silence, searching by the touch of his fingertips for the lever to freedom.
Sticky Hulk. It's like a
Is this man
sticky
making
hand.
Oh, he's gonna turn the rat into a sticky hand
Yeah.
and then use it to fucking Spider-Man his way out of there. I got it.
Oh yeah. You can grab keys with that motherfucker.
Oh, true. You know, a guard walks by, you just grab it with this fucking sticky rat. They don't even know. Chapter 5. Up to the altar and be done with it, wench, ordered a fidgeting shaman. He spelt it right this time, as he gave the female a grim stare accompanied by the wrinkling of his lips to a mirthful grin of delight. The girl burst into a slow, steady whimper, stooping shakily to her knees and cringing woefully from the priest with both arms wound snake-like around the bulging jade shin rising before her scantily attired figure. Her face was redly inflamed from the salty flow of tears spouting from her glassy, dilated eyeballs.
You got seawater in there, man.
Just a little bit. Never hurt nobody. With short, heavy footfalls, the priest approached the female, his piercing stare never wavering from her quivering young countenance. Halting before the terrified girl, he projected his arm outward and motioned her to arise with an upward movement of his hand. The girl's whimpering increased slightly, and she sunk closer to the floor rather than arising. The flickering torches outlined her trim build with a weird ornate glow as it cast a ghostly shadow dancing in horrid waves of splendor over smoothly worn whiteness of the marble-hewn altar.
God.
What the fuck is going on?
Also, Diz, I think we've seen changed back to the weird altar thing from chapter 3 and a half.
Yeah, I think we're in the flashback again.
Yeah. Here we go. The shaman's lips curled back farther, exposing a set of blackened, decaying molars, which transformed his slovenly grin into a wide, greasy arc of sadistic mirth and alternately interposed into the female a strong sensation of stomach-curdling nausea. Have it as you will, female, gloated the enhanced priest as he... The enhanced priest. Oh.
He's enhanced now. He's leveled up.
Enhanced.
Enhanced priest.
As he bent over at the waist... That's another brownie for me, by the way. Projecting his ape-like arms forward. And and clasped the female's slender arms with his hairy, round fists. With an inward...
Why is he turning into an ape? What's happening?
He's like... I can't tell if they're supposed to be, like, old and, like, wrinkly and, like, fucking... twiggy, or if they're supposed to be, like... Man, have you ever seen, like, the animations of, Senor Pillow?
Yeah.
I can't decide if it's between, like, some twiggy broomstick or that.
Yeah. He is, like, somewhere at any time very small and bald and wrinkly and old, and also turning into, like, a great ape from Dragon Ball Z or some shit.
Yeah. Diz, Animorphs ape transformation.
Yeah, exactly.
Round fists. Hairy round fists. With an inward surge of his biceps, he harshly jerked the trembling girl to her feet and smothered her salty wet cheeks with the moldy touch of his decrepit, dull, red lips. Why is it moldy?
You know, it's humid here, so we've learned. A lot of moisture is built up on his lips.
It's like a fucking turtle shell.
Maybe he's just a little turtle guy.
That would explain some things. The vile stench of the shaman's hot, fetid breath overcame the nauseated female with a deep, soul-searing sickness, causing her to wrench her head backwards and regurgitate a slimy, orange-white stream of swelling gore over the richly woven purple robe of the enthused acolyte. I know she's supposed to have just vomited, but it sounded like she, like, puked up her guts.
Yeah, it sounds like she spit, like, fucking acidic bile at him or something.
Like a fucking, what's it called? Like a fucking boomer from Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. He's got bile all over him now.
Yeah. The priest's lips trembled with a malicious rage as he removed his callous paws from the girl's arms and replaced them with tightly around her undulating neck, shaking her violently to and fro. Don't shake the baby. Okay. The girl gasped, a tortured groan from her clamped lungs, her sea-blue eyes bulging forth from damp sockets. Cocking her right foot backwards, she leashed it desperately outwards with the strength of a demon possessed, lodging her sandaled foot squarely between the shaman's testicles.
A demon possessed.
A demon...
That's like double.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
The startled priest released his crushing grip, crimping his body over at the waist, overlooking his recessed belly, wide open in a deep chasm?
Chasm?
His face flushed to a rose-red shade of crimson. That's 3 different types of red.
Yeah, it's like, it's a gradient.
Oh, he's got the funky gradients going on.
Mm-hmm.
Eyelids fluttering wide with eyeballs protruding blindly outwards from their sockets to their outmost perimeters, while his lips quivered wildly about, allowing an agonized wallow to gust forth as his breath billowed from burning lungs. His hands reached out clutching his urinary gland, as his knees wobbled rapidly about for a few seconds then buckled, causing the ruptured shaman to collapse in an egg-huddled mass to the granite pavement, rolling helplessly about in his agony.
Holy shit, she turned him to an egg.
Do all dudes do that when you kick them in the balls?
Only the turtle guys. She like hit him so hard he went backwards in time.
Oh, he regressed?
He went back to being an egg.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. The pathetic screeches of the shaman groveling in dejected misery upon the hand-honed granite-laid pavement, worn smooth by countless hours of arduous sweat and toil, a welter of ichor oozing through his clenched hands, attracted the perturbed attention of his comrades from their fotid... What the fuck is this? Fotidulations?
Fotidulations.
There's no way this is a real word. Faux titillations. It's not a real word. If you Google this word, the only thing that comes up is the Eye of Argon. All right, well, the actions of this rebellious wench bespoke the credence of an unheard of sacrilege. Never before in a lost maze of untold eons had a chosen one dared to demonstrate such blasphemy in the face of the cult's idolic deity. We're back to deity again. The girl cowered in unreasoning terror, helpless in the face of the emblazoned acolyte's rage. Her orchid tousled face smothered betwixt her bulging bosom as she shut her curled lash. Holy fuck. Her curled lash tightly, hoping to open them and find herself awakening from a morbid nightmare. That was all one sentence, half this paragraph.
So her.
Oh, it's not even technically over yet. Because
it's not even over.
Yet the hand of destiny decreed her no such mercy, the antagonized pack of leering shaman converging tensely upon her prostrate form were entangled all too lividly in the grim web of reality. This whole paragraph was basically one sentence.
I also want to point out that her boobs are so big now she can smother her own face in them.
She's going to make them big enough that she can just get inside there and they can't get to her.
Yeah, that's her defense mechanism.
It's like an armadillo. Shuddering from the clammy touch of the shaman as they grappled with her supple form, hands wrenching at her slender arms and legs in all direction, her bare body being molested in the midst of a labyrinth of orange smudges, purple satin, and mangled skulls, shadowed in an eerie crimson glow, her confused head reeled, then clouded, in a mist of enshrouding ebony as she lapsed beneath the protective sheet of unconsciousness to a land peach and resigned. What?
What he means to say, without, like, that entire paragraph is just 3 words. She passed out. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say. Ugh. Chapter 6. Take hold of this rope, said the first soldier, and climb out from your pit, slut. Your presence is required in another far deeper hellhole. Okay, we're back with Grigner.
Oh, of course. He's evolved from a sun slut to a pit slut now.
He's a pit slut. Grigner slipped his right hand to his thigh, concealing a small opaque object beneath the folds of the G-string wrapped around his waist.
Oh, shit.
He's like a true pit slut. He's got the G-string and everything.
Yeah, he's got the uniform on.
Brine wells swelled in Grigner's cold, jade-squinting eyes, which, grown accustomed to the gloom of the Stygian pools of ebony engulfing him, were bedazzled and blinded by flickering radiance cast forth by the second soldier's resin torch. Tightly gripped in the second soldier's right hand, opposite the intermittent torch, was a large double-edged axe, a long leather wound oaken handle transfixing the center of the weapon's iron head. Whoa. Adorning the torso of both the sentries were thin yet sturdy hauberks, the breastplates of which were woven of tightly hemmed twines of reinforced silver braiding. Cupping the soldiers' feet were thick leather sandals. Gently cup the feet.
Just a little cup.
Wound about their shins, there it is, to 2 inches below their knees. Wrapped about their waists were wide satin girdles with slender bladed poniards? Poniards! Dangling loosely from them, the hilts of which featured scarlet-encrusted gems. Resting upon the manes of their heads and reaching midway to their brows were smooth copper morions. I just want to say smooth copper morons instead. Spiraling the lower portion of the helmet were short, upcurved silver spikes, while a golden hump spired from the top of each bassinet. What?
The fuck is a bassinet?
A bassinet is a baby carriage.
Oh shit, they got a whole baby out here now?
They got a whole... Wait, what are we... They're wearing a fucking baby carriage on their heads?
The royal baby has come to escort you, Grignier?
Beneath their chins, wound around their necks, and draping their clad shoulders, dangled regal purple satin cloaks, which flowed midway to the soldiers' feet. That entire paragraph...
They gave us a whole description of these soldiers for no reason.
Of their outfits. Like, not even My Immortal takes this much detail for their outfits.
I can't think of any piece of literature that has ever taken this much time to describe two characters that I assume are just going to die in the next 2 paragraphs, probably.
Dude, yeah.
But I'm glad I know how, I know what they look like. I know how they're dressed. I know their family. I know their lineage. I know how many kids they have.
We know how their
car
grandfathers
insurance they
died.
have. Yeah, I'm really glad I know everything about. I know more about these 2 soldiers now than I do about Grignir, honestly.
I know where their polyps are. Man.
Okay, I go. Hand over hand, feet braced against the dank walls of the enclosure. Huge Grignir, he's now evolved into Huge Grignir, ascended from the moldering depths of the forlorn abyss. His swelled limbs, stiff due to the boredom of a timeless inactivity, compounded by the musty atmosphere and jagged granite protuberance against his body, craved for action. What the fuck is going on? Am I having a stroke? Musty atmosphere?
Buster.
Just a little atmosphere here in our protuberance against my body. Crave for action.
I'm
The
swelling.
opportunity now, of course. Words don't look real anymore. The opportunity now presenting itself served the purpose of oiling his rusty joints and honing his dulled senses. Tomorrow I'm not gonna be able to fucking read. I'm gonna have to call out of work. He braced himself, facing the second soldier. The sentry's stature was wildly exaggerated in the glare of the flickering crescent capex in his right fist. His eyes were wide open in a slightly slanted owlish glaze, enhanced in their sinister intensity by the hawk bill curve of his nose and pale yellow peak on his cheeks. Place your hands behind your back, said the second soldier as he raised his axe over his right shoulder blade and cast it a wavering glance. We must bind your wrists to parry any attempts to escape. Be sure to make the knot a stout one, Broig. We wouldn't want our guest to take leave of our guidance.
Oh, he has a name.
Broig! That's my
Broig!
boy. Broig grasped Grignir's left wrist and reached for the barbarian's right wrist. Grignir wrenched his right arm free and swiveled to face Broig. Reach, dash, beneath his loincloth with his right hand. The sentry grappled at his girdle for the sheathed dagger, but recoiled short of his intentions as Grignir's right arm swept to his gorge.
He's doing the hokey
The
pokey.
soldier, he's about to put one foot in and take another foot out. The soldier went limp, his bobbing eyes rolling beneath fluttering eyelids, a deep welt across his spouting gullet. Without lingering to observe the result of his efforts, Grignir dropped to his knees. Grignir, what are you doing down there, bud? The second soldier's axe cleft over Grignir's head in a blizz of silvered ferocity, severing several scarlet locks from his scalp. Coming to rest in his fellow's stomach, the iron head crashed through mail and flesh with splintering force, spilling a pool of crimsoned entrails over the granite paving. What just happened?
Wait. Iron
Did
head.
he just do a...
Oh,
What
okay.
happened?
Okay, I think I know what happened. So there's like several guards in here, not just 2. I think there's like at least 3 or 4.
There's more than Broig?
There's more than Broig! And it's like, he slashed at one and then immediately ducked because one of them was swinging his axe, and the axe got the guard that was behind him.
What did he slash at him with? The sticky rat?
Yeah, that's Sticky Hulk.
Okay. Before the sentry could wrench his axe free from his comrade's carcass, he found Grignir's massive hands clasped around his throat, choking the life from his clamped lungs. This dude keeps his lungs in his throat? What an idiot. With a zealous grunt, the accordion flexed his tightly corded biceps, forcing the grim-faced soldier to one knee. The sentry the milk is really starting to hit me. The sentry plunged his right fist into Grignir's face, digging his grimy nails into the barbarian's flesh. Ejaculating a curse? Huh? Ejaculating a curse through rasping teeth, Grignir surged the bulk of his weight forward, bowling the besieged soldier over upon his back. The sentry's arms collapsed to his thigh, shuddering convulsively, his bulging eyes starting staring blindly from a bloated, cherry red face.
Jesus.
What did he do to this man? He made him ejaculate a curse?
That's some dick wizard shit.
I think Grigner's not a barbarian at all. I think he is a dick wizard. I'm glad we gave him a little wizard voice.
Yeah. Rising to his feet, Grigner shook the blood from his eyes, ruffling his surly red mane as a brush fire swaying to the nighttime breeze. Hello? Stooping over the sprawled corpse of the first soldier, Grigner retrieved a small white object from a pool of congealing gore.
It's the curse!
It's a curse.
The white object is the curse he ejaculated.
Snorting a gusty billow of mirth, he once more concealed a tiny object beneath his loincloth. The tediously honed pelvis bone of the broken grodent. Returning his attention toward the second soldier, Grigner turned to the task of attiring his limbs. To move about freely through the dim recesses of the castle would require the grotesque garb of its soldiery. Utilizing the silence and stealth acquired in the untamed climes of his childhood, Grigner slink. Through twisting corridors and winding stairways, lighting his way with the confiscated torch of his dispatched guardian. Kamal says the lesser-known definition of ejaculation is something... Yeah, we know that. It's just really funny. Torch of the dispatched guardian. Knowing where his steps were leading to, Grigner meandered aimlessly. Wait, if you know where you're going, how can you meander aimlessly?
Grigner finds a way.
He finds a way. Grigner meandered aimlessly in search of an exit from the chateau's dim confines. The wild blood coursing through his veins yearned for the undefiled freedom of the livid wilderness lands. Basically, if he's not fighting, he will basically burst into flames from the inside.
If Grigner isn't fighting or playing marbles with a wench in a tavern, he's basically might as well be dead.
Yeah. It's like that one fucking movie where the guy can't stop.
Oh, Jason Statham in that movie.
That movie. Neither of our brains can produce the title. Awesome. Wilderness lands. Okay. Coming upon a fork in the passage, he treeked? He treeked.
He just did a little treek.
Did a little treek. Voices accompanied by clinking footfalls discerned to his sensitive ears from the left corridor. Wishing to avoid contact, Grigner veered to the right passageway. If quested as to the purpose of his presence, his barbarous accent would reveal his identity, being that his attire was not of that of the castle's mercenary troops. In grim silence, Grigner treated down the dingily lit corridor, a stalking panther creeping warily along on padded feet. He's an animorph again!
God, he's a furry.
After an interminable period of wandering through the dull corridors, no gaps to break the monotony of the cold gray walls, Grigner espied a small winding stairway. Descending the flight of arced granite slabs to their posterior, Grigner was confronted by a short hallway leading to a tall arched wooden doorway.
Hold on, there's something that caught my... If I can even fucking find it. You look away for 1 second and the text actually changes while you're looking away. It's gaslighting you actively.
Oh yeah, it's cursed.
I can't even find it. I feel like I'm going fucking crazy. Well, that's gone. That thought is gone now.
Do you remember what it was, kind of?
No. I think it had to do with Grigner, but I don't know anymore.
We're losing brain cells as we speak.
Alright. Here we go.
You're right after the little weird illustration of our Grodent. I think it's the Grodent.
Is it? I have to open this. Hold on. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Alright. Halting before the teeming portal, Grignir... Fuck. Not the portal.
The portal!
Halting before the teeming portal. Go on.
At least it's not the portal.
Oh, true. Then we'd be in some deep shit. Grignir resties his shaggy head sideways against the barrier. Detecting no sounds from within, he grasped the looped metal handle of the... He grasped the looped metal handle of the door, his arm surging with a tremendous effort of bulging muscles, yet the door would not budge. Retrieving his axe from where he had sheathed it beneath his girdle, he hefted it in his mighty hands with a appeased grunt, and wedging one of its blackened edges into the crack between the portal and its iron-rimmed sill. Bracing his sandaled right foot against a rougely hewn wall, teeth tightly clenched, Grignir What the fuck is going on? Grignir Aplivered? A Plivered? The oaken half? No fucking way. A Plivered the oaken half, employing it as a lever whereby to pry open the barrier. The leather-wound hilt bending to its utmost limits of endurance, the massive portal swung open with a grating of snapped latch and rusty iron hinges.
His action was so revolutionary and beyond the realm of physics that it needed new terms.
He invented a new verb, I think. Applivered. Is that like applying and leveraging or levering?
Apilevered.
I guess.
Probably.
Apilevered. Glancing about the dust... Oh, we're back to the dust. About the dust-swirled room in the gloomily dancing glare of his flickering cresset, Grignir eyed evidences of the enclosure being nothing more than a forgotten storeroom. Miscellaneous articles required for the maintenance of a castle were piled in disorganized heaps at infrequent intervals towards the wall opposite the barbarian's piercing stare.
I'm just imagining very large piles of Windex bottles.
Yeah, bleach bottles, Clorox, disinfectant wipes,
dryer sheets.
He's basically in the fucking janitor's closet.
Yeah.
Utilizing long bounding strides, Grignir paced his way over to the mounds of Clorox to discover if any articles of value were contained within their midst. Detecting a faint clinking sound, Grignir not sprawled, to his left side with the speed of a striking cobra, landing harshly upon his back. Torch and axe loudly clattering to the floor in a morass of sparks and flame. A elm-woven board leaped from collapsed flooring, clashing against the jagged flooring and spewing a shower of orange and yellow sparks over Grignir's startled face. Oh my god. Rising uneasily to his feet, the I cannot read. I actually cannot read. This fucking story has made me incredibly stupid already.
This cursed text makes whoever reads it more illiterate.
Whoever reads it becomes a stoopy. The half-stunned Ecordian glared down at the gruesome arm of death he had unwittingly sprung. Marifk.
Fuck. If not for his keen auditory organs, he's got hearing glands.
Oh my god.
And lighting steel reflexes, Grignir would have been groping through the shadowed hell pits of the Grim Reaper. He had unknowingly stumbled upon an ancient, long-forgotten booby trap, a mistake which would have stunted the perusal of longevity of one less agile. You could have just said that in the beginning, Jim.
Come on, Jim.
A mechanism similar in type to that of a miniature catapult was concealed beneath 2 collapsible sections of granite flooring. The trap's already sprung. Do we have to like keep describing it?
Yes, you have to know how this funny little catapult would have flung Grignir out of the castle and far off into the sky until he twinkled like a little star.
Is he like giving us blueprints?
I think so. He's telling us to construct this trap.
The arm of the device was 4 feet long. Yeah, it's instructions.
Oh, okay.
Boasting razor-like cleats at regular intervals along its face, with which it was to skewer the luckless body of its would-be victim. Grignir had stepped upon a concealed catch, which released a small metal latch beneath the 2 granite sections causing them to fall inward, and thereby lose the spiked arm of death they precariously held in. Like a fart. Partially. Wait a minute. Scroll, there we go. Okay. Partially out of curiosity, and partially out of an inordinate fear of becoming a pincushion for a possible second trap, Grignir plunged his torch into the exposed gap in the floor. The floor of a second chamber stood out 7 feet below the glare. Glare? Tossing his torch through the aperture. Grignir grasped the side of an adjoining tile, dropping down. Glancing about the room, Grignir discovered that he had descended into the palace's mausoleum. Rectangular stone crypts cluttered the floor at evenly paced intervals. The tops of the enclosures were plated with thick layers of virgin gold, while the sides were plated with white ivory, at one time sparkling but now grown dingy through the passage of the rays of all-encompassing mother time. Featured at the head of each sarcophagus in tarnished silver. Wait, so the gold is new, but everything else is trashed.
Everything else is all-encompassing.
All-encompassing. Mr. All-encompassing. Was an what fucking word is that? Expugnively carved likeness of its rotting inhabitant. I can hear Dizzy dying in the other room. A dingy atmosphere pervaded the air of the chamber, which, sealed in the enclosure for an unknown period, had grown thick and stale. This atmosphere, intermingling with the curdled currents, was the repugnant stench of slowly moldering flesh creeping ever so slowly but surely through minute cracks in the numerous vaults. Due to the embalming of the bodies, their flesh decayed at a much slower rate than is normal, yet the nauseous odor was none the less repellent. What?
I don't know. Towering over Grignir's head was the trap he released. The mechanism of the miniaturized catapult, with an O, was cluttered with mildew and cobwebs. Notwithstanding these relics of antiquity, its efficiency remained unimpinged. Okay. To the right of the trap wound a short stairway through a recess in the ceiling, a concealed entrance leading to the mausoleum for which the catapult had obviously been erected as a silent, relentless guardian. Climbing up the side of the device, Grignir set to the task of resetting its mechanism. In the event that a search was organized, it would prove well to leave no evidence of his presence open to the wandering eyes. Besides, it might even serve to dwindle the size of an opposing force. Descending from his perch, he ended up on a perch somehow, Grignir was startled by a faintly muffled scream of horrified desperation. His hair prickled yawkishly in disorganized clumps along his scalp as a cold danced along the length of his spinal cord. No moral/mortal barrier, human or otherwise, was capable of arousing the numbing sensation of fear inside of Grignir's smoldering soul. However, he was overwrought by the forces of the barbarian's instinctive fear of the supernatural. Barbarians plural, ownership, of course. His mighty thews had always served to adequately conquer any tangible foe, but the intangible was something distant and terrible. Dim, horrifying tales passed by word of mouth over glimmering campfires and skins of wine had more than once served the purpose of chilling the marrowed core of his sturdy limbed bones. Yet, the scream contained a strangely human quality, unlike that which Grignir imagined would come from the lungs of a demon or a spirit, making Grignir take short, nervous strides advancing to the sarcophagus from which the sound was issuing. Clenching his teeth in an attempt to steal his jangled nerves. Huh? Jangled?
They're jangling like a banjo. There's a little banjo in the background.
Okay. I looked it up and maybe that works. I don't fucking know. Jangled nerves. Grignir slid the engraved slab from the vault with a sharp rasp of grinding stone. Another long drawn cry of terror infested anguish met the barbarian, scoring like the shrill piping of a demented banshee, piercing the inner fibers of a superstitious brain with primitive dread, and awe. Not the dread.
The dread.
Stooping over to espy the tomb's contents, the glittering accordion's nostrils, with two L's, were singed by the scorching aroma of a moldering corpse, long shut up and fermenting, the same putrid scent which permeated the entire chamber, though multiplied to a much more concentrated dosage. The shriveled, leathery packet of crumpling bones and dried flacking flesh offered no resistance, but remained in a fixed position of perpetual vigilance, watching over its dim abode from hollow gaping sockets.
The tortured Kriz were not coming from the tomb, but from some hidden depth below. Pulling the reeking corpse from its resting place, Grignir tossed it to the floor in a broken, mangled heap. Upon one side of the crypt's bottom was attached a series of tiny hinges, while running parallel along the opposite side of a convex railing-like protuberance, there's that word again, laid so as to appear as a part of the interior surface of the sarcophagus. Whew. Raising the slab upon its bronze hinges, long removed from the gaze of human eyes, Grignir perceived a scene which caused his blood to smolder, not unlike bubbling molten lava. I'm gonna get the battle music out for this. He's gotta fight. He's on fire again.
Oh no.
Directly below him, a whimpering female lay stretched upon a smooth-surfaced marble altar. A pack of gracie-faced shaman clustered around her in a tight circular formation. Crouched over the girl was a tall, pot-bellied priest, his face dominated by a disgusting open-mouthed grimace of sadistic glee. Suspended from the acolyte's clenched right hand was a carven oval-faced mallet, which he waved menacingly over the girl's shadowed face, and incoherent gibberish flowing from his grinning, thick-lipped mouth. He's just going... In the face of the amorphous, broad-breasted female, stretched out alluringly before his gaping eyes, the universal whim of nature filing a plea of despair inside his white-hot soul, hopefully in triplicate, Grignir acted in the only manner he could perceive. Giving vent to a hoarse, throat-rending battle cry, Grignir plunged into the midst of the startled shaman, torch simmering in his left hand and axe twirling in his right hand. A gaunt, skull-faced priest, standing at the far side of the altar, clutched desperately at his throat, coughing furiously in an attempt to catch his breath. Wait, what? Lurching helplessly, what happened?
He's mind-killing him, I think.
Did he just startle him really badly?
I guess? Because they're old?
Are they old or are they beefy? Are they old beef?
They're old beef, depending on what stage of the Animorph they're in.
What is beef?
Okay. Okay, lurching helplessly to and fro, the acolyte pitched headlong against the gleaming base of a massive jade idol, writhing agonizingly against the hideous image, foam flecking his chalk-white lips. The priest struggled helplessly, -- the victim of an epileptic seizure.
Oh no. How did that happen?
Grignir is on fire and possibly flickering very rapidly, and I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense.
The sight of him can be seizure-inducing for those who have sensitive dispositions.
Very true.
Startled by the barbarian's stunning appearance, yeah, he's flashing, the chronic fit of their fellow, and the fear that Grigner might be the avant-garde, what? Of a conquering force dedicated to the cause of destroying their degenerated cult. The salmon, not shaman, salmon, momentarily lost their composure, giving vent to heedless pandemonium. The priests fell easy prey to Krigner's sweeping arc of crimson death and maiming destruction.
Destruction.
Destruction. Destruction. The acolyte performing the sacrifice took a vicious blow to the stomach, hands clutching vitals and severed spinal cord. What? As he sprawled over the altar, your spine is in half. You can't clutch nothing.
He's grabbing his own spine?
Yes. The space-anized priests lurched and staggered with split skulls, dismembered limbs, and spewing entrails before the enraged accordion's relentless onslaught. The howls of the maimed and dying reverberated against the walls of the tiny chamber. A chorus of hell fraught deeper. As the granite floor ran red with blood, the entire chamber was encompassed in the heat of raw, savage butchery as Grigner luxuriated in the grips of a primitive, beastly bloodlust.
Presently, all went silent, save for the ebbing groans of the sinking shaman and Grignir's heaving breath, accompanied by several gusty curses. The well had run dry. No more lambs remained for the slaughter. The rampaging steed of death, having taken of Grignir for the moment, left the barbarian free to the exploitation of his other perusals. Towering over his head was the misshaped image of the cult's hideous deity, still, Argon. The fantastic size of the idol in consideration of it being of pure jade was enough to cause the senses of any man to stagger and reel. Yet, thus was not the cause for the behemoth. He had paid only casual notice to the incredible fact, while riveting the whole of his attention upon the jewel protruding from the idol's sole socket. Its masterfully cut faucets, I can't read, emitting blinding rays of hypnotizing beauty. After all, a man cannot slink from a heavily guarded palace while burdened down by the intense bulk of a squatting statue, providing, of course, that the idol can even be hefted, which, in fact, was beyond the reaches of Grignir's coursing stamina. On the other hand, the jewel, gigantic as it was, would not present a hindrance of any mean concern.
Help me, please. I can make it well worth your while.
Pleaded. Oh, that's the woman on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she sounds like now. Pleaded a soft, anguish-strewn voice wafting over Grignir's soldier as he plucked the dull red emerald from its roots. Turning, Grignir faced the female that had lured him into this bloodbath, but whom had become all but forgotten in the heat of battle.
You?
Ejaculated the accordion in a pleased tone.
I thought that I had seen the last of you at the tavern, but verily I was mistaken.
Grignir advanced into the grips of the female's entrancing stare, severing the golden chains that held her captive upon the altar, the altar's highly polished face of ornamental limestone.
As Grigner lifted the girl from the altar, her arms wound dexterously about his neck, soft and smooth against his harsh exterior. Hold on, I gotta change the music. There we go. Yeah, hi Trigger, we're reading bad fiction. Where the fuck? Okay, there it is. As Grigner lifted the girl from the altar, her arms wound dexterously about his neck, soft and smooth against his harsh exterior. Art thou pleased that we have chanced to meet once again? Grigler merely voiced an side grunt, returning the damsel's embrace while he smothered her trim, delicate lips between the coursing protrusions of his reeking maw.
Let us take leave of this wretched chamber.
stated Grignr as he placed the female upon her feet. She swooned a moment, causing Grignr to give her support, then regained her stance. Art thou able to find your way through the accursed passages of this castle? Oh, wait. No, that was supposed to be Grignr.
Art thou able to find your way through the accursed passages of this castle? Marifk, every one of the corridors of this damned place are identical.
I was at one time a slave of Prince Agathim. His clammy touch sent a sour swill through my belly. But my efforts reaped a harvest. I gained the pig's liking, whereby he allowed me the freedom of the palace. It was through this means that I eventually managed escape of the place. It was a simple matter to seduce the sentry at the western gate. His trust found him with a dagger thrust his ribs. The wench stated whimsicorically. That's a new word.
What were you doing at the tavern whence I discovered you?
Asked Grignr as he lifted the female through the opening into the mausoleum. I had sought to lay low for the peasants' cause as they conducted their search for me. That like her voice is just going all over the place now. The tavern was seldom frequented by the palace guards, and my identity was unknown to the common soldiers. It was through the disturbance that you caused that the palace guards were attracted to the tavern. I was dragged away shortly after you escorted to the palace.
What are you called by female?
Grignr, you can't ask like that.
You ask, what are your pronouns, Grignr?
Come on, Grignr. You're gonna get canceled, bud.
Ah. Carthena, daughter of Micardos? Mincardos. Duke of Barwego, whose lands border along the northwestern fringes of Guazam. I was paid as homage to Agathim upon his 38th year. Husked the femme! Exclamation point.
And I am called a barbe-
Oh, no, your turn. It's about your turn.
Okay. And I am called a barbarian, grunted Grignr in a disgusted tone. Who the fuck is speaking right now? Oh, she is.
The ways of our civilization are in many ways warped and distorted. But what is your calling?
She queried. Bustily? Huh? She's speaking with her titties? What's going on here?
Yeah, you gotta ask questions about, with your chest.
Oh, okay. Grignr of Accordia.
Ah, I have heard vaguely of Accordia. It is the hill country to the far east of the Norigolian Empire. I have also heard Agathim cursed your land more than once when his troops were routed in the unaccustomed mountains and gorges,
saith she. Here's a very nice picture of Carthena.
We think.
Aye, my people are not tarnished by petty luxuries and baubles. They remain fierce and unconquerable in their native climes.
After reaching the hidden panel at the head of the stairway, Grignr was at a loss in regard to its operation. This fucker forgot how to work a staircase?
After all that planning and strategizing.
Come on, Grignr. One foot in front of the other, bud. His fiercest heaves were as pebbles against burnished armor. Carthena depressed a small symbol included within the elaborate design upon the panel, where open, it slowly slid into a cleft in the wall.
Oh, the door said push, not pull, Grignr.
But how did you come to be the victim of those crazed shaman?
Quested Grignr as he escorted Carthena through the piles of rummage on the left side of the trap.
By Agathim's orders, I was thrust into a secluded cell to await his passing of sentence. By some means, The priests of Argon acquired a set of keys to the cell. They slew. I have a lot of talking lines here, don't I? They
You do.
slew the guard placed over me and abducted me to the chamber. And when you chanced to come upon the sacrifice, their hell spawn cult demands a sacrifice once every 3 moons upon its full journey through the heavens. They were startled by your unannounced appearance through the fear that you had been sent by Agathim. The prince would surely have submitted them to the most ghastly of tortures if he had ever discovered their unfaithfulness to Sargon, his bastard deity. Many of the partakers of the ritual were high nobles and high trustees of the inner palace. Agathim's pitiless wrath would have been unparalleled.
Holy shit,
They have no more to fear of Agathim now.
bellowed Grignir in a deep, mirthful tone, a gleeful smirk upon his face.
I have seen that they were delivered from his vengeance.
Vengeance.
Vengeance?
Engrossed by Carthina's graceful stride and lack of breath and conversation, Grignir failed to take note of the footfalls rapidly approaching behind him. As he swung aside the arched portal linking the chamber with the corridors beyond, a maddened, blood-lusting screech reverberated from his eardrums. The sound came from his ear? Seemingly utilizing the speed of thought, Grignir swiveled to face his unknown foe. With gaping eyes and widened jaws, Grignir raised his axe above his surly mane, but he was too late.
Oh, we're already at chapter 7.
Oh my god.
With wobbling knees and swimming head, the priest that had lapsed into an epileptic seizure rose unsteadily to his feet. While enacting his choking fit in writhing agony, the shaman was overlooked by Grignir. Oh, you left one behind. The barbarian had mistaken the seizure for the death throes of the acolyte, Grignir legitimately thought he spooked somebody to death.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
That's true. That's very true. The barbarian had mistaken the seizure for the death throes of the acolyte, allowing the priest to avoid his stinging blade. The sight that met the priest's inflamed eyes nearly served to sprawl him upon the floor once more. The sacrificial sat it grim, blood-splattered silence all around him, broken only by the occasional yelps and howls of his maimed and butchered fellows. Above his head rose the hideous idol, its empty socket holding the shaman's eye-furbished by Apple, infuriated gaze. His eyes turned to a stony glaze with the realization of the pillage and blasphemy. Due to his high susceptibility following the seizure, the priest was transformed into a raving maniac bent solely upon wreaking vengeance. So apparently having seizures puts you into berserker mode?
Yeah, he powered up. He's ready to fight now.
With lips curled and quivering, a crust of foam. Foam is not crusty! Dripping from them, the acolyte drew a long, wicked-looking jewel-hilted scimitar. From his silver girdle and fled through the aperture in the ceiling, uttering a faintly perceptible ceremonial gibberish.
Wait, he drew his sword and then just ran the fuck away?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just drew his sword and he was like,
Yeah, goodbye.
Just ran away.
Chapter 7.5. A sweeping scimitar swung towards Grignir's head in a shadowed blur of motion. With axe, capitalized, we have a new character called Axe, raised over his head, Grignir prepared to parry the blow, while gaping wittied, one whole word, wittied, in open-mouthed perplexity. Suddenly, a sharp snap resounded behind the frothing shaman. The scimitar, halfway through its fatal sweep, dropped from a criveling... My mouth is falling out of my head.
The curse is getting to you too.
It is. Ooh. The scimitar, halfway through its fatal sweep, dropped from a quivering, nerveless hand, clattering harmlessly to the Stone Age. Cutting his screech short with a bubbling, red-mouthed gurgle, the lacerated acolyte staggered under the pressure of the released springboard. After a moment of hopeless struggling, the shaman buckled, sprawling face down in a widening pool of blood and entrails. His regal purple robe, blending enhancingly with the swirling streams of crimson.
Christmas!
The swirling streams of Christmas. So this dude had, got spooked, had a seizure, got up, went berserk mode, took out his sword, tried to climb out of the hole, and then just got killed by the trap.
Right. Yes. And it sent him back to the Stone Age, apparently.
Rifk, I thought I had killed the last of those dogs,
muttered Grignr in a half-apathetic state.
Nay, Grignr, you doubtless grew careless while giving vent to your lusts, but let us not tarry any long, lest we overtax the fates. The paths leading to freedom will soon be barred. The wretch's cries must certainly have attracted unwanted attention, the wench mused.
Who the fuck is this, Grignr?
Who's talking?
What direction shall we pursue our flight?
Up that stair and down the corridor. A short distance is the concealed entrance. I'm really trying very hard here, Grignr, you must understand, to a tunnel seldom used by others than the prince, and known to few others, save the palace's royalty. It is used mainly by the prince when he wishes to take leave of the palace in secret. It is not always in the prince's best interest to leave his chateau in public view. Even while under heavy guard, he is often assaulted by hurtling stones and rotting fruits. The commoners have little love for him.
Lectured the near lady. Is this fucking Grignr?
It is amazing that they would ever have left a pig like him become the ruler. I should imagine that his people would rise up and crucify him like the dog he is.
Alas, Grignr, it is not as simple as all that. His soldiers are well paid by him. So long as he keeps their wages up, they will carry out his damned wish. Wished? What the fuck am I talking about, Grignr? The crude implements of the common folk would never stand up under an onslaught of forged blades and protective armor. They would be going to their own slaughter,
stated Carthena to a confused but angered Grignr as they topped the stairway. I can see why he's confused.
Yet how can they bear to live under such oppression? I would sooner die beneath the sword than live under such a dog's command, added Grignr as the pair stalked down the hall in the direction opposite that in which Grignr had come.
But all men are not of the same mold that you are born of. They choose to live as they are so as to... Have you ever had it? Grignr, tell me, have you ever had a dream that you could, as to have with which, if you could, save their filthy necks from the chopping block?
Returned Carthena in a disgusted tone as she cast an... Is this supposed to be appeased? Appy said glanced towards the stalwart figure at her side, whose left arm was wound dexterously about her slim waist, his slowly waning torch casting their images in intermingling wisps as it dangled from his left hand. Presently, Carthena came upon the panel, concealed amongst the other granite slabs and discernible only by the burned-out cresset above it.
As I pushed the cresset aside, pushed the panel inwards.
Katharina motioned to the panel she was referring to and twisted the cresset in a counterclockwise motion. Grignr braced his right shoulder against the walling, concentrating the force of his bulk against it. The slab gradually swung inward with a slight grating sound. Carthena stooped beneath Grignr's corded arms and crawled upon all fours into the passage beyond. Grignr followed after, easing the slab back into place. Winding before the pair was a dark, musty tunnel exhibiting tangled spiderwebs from its ceiling to wall and an oozing, sickly slime running lazily upon its floor. Hanging from the chipped wall upon Grignir, with a capital R, Grignir's right side was a half-moldered corpse, its gray, flacking arms held in place by rusted iron manacles. Carthena flinched back into Grignir's arms at sight of the leering Set in an ugly, distorted grimace, staring horribly at her from hollow, gaping sockets.
Let me see.
This is Grignir. That's not what he sounds like. That's fucking Carthena. This alcove must have also been used by Agathim as a torture chamber. I wonder how many of his enemies have disappeared into these haunts, never to be heard from again, pondered the hulking brute.
Let us flee before we are also caught within Agathim's ghastly glitches within Ashton's glassly kutchers.
Ashton, you're on punked, Grignir. You're on punked.
The exit from this tunnel cannot be very far from here,
said Carthena with a slight sob. Oh, the exit from this tunnel cannot be very far from here, said Carthena with a slight sob to her voice as she sagged in Grignir's encompassing embrace.
Aye, it will be best to be finished with this corridor as soon as it is possible. But why do you flinch from the sight of death so? Mrift?
The curse has changed.
Mrift, you have seen much death this day without exhibiting such emotions?
Exclaimed Grignir as he led her trembling form along the dingy confines.
The man hanging from the wall was Toyota.
Daytona.
The man hanging from the wall was Daytona. He'd committed the folly of showing affection for me in front of Agathim. He never meant any harm by his actions.
At this, Carthena broke into a slow, steady whimpering, choking her voice with gasping sobs.
There was never anything between us. Yet Agathim did this to him. The beast made the demons of hell's deepest haunts claw away at his wretched flesh for this merciless act,
she prayed.
I detect that you felt more for this fellow than you wished to let on. But enough of this. We can talk of such matters after we are once more free to do so.
With this, Grignir lifted the grieved female to her feet and strode onward down the corridor, supporting the bulk of her weight with his surging left arm. Presently, a dim light was perceptibly filtering into the tunnel. Casting a dim reddish hue upon the moldy wall of the passage's grim confines. Carthena has ceased her whimpering and partially regained her composure. The tunnel's end... God.
The tunnel's end must be nearing. Rays of sunlight are beginning to seep into...
Grignir clammied his right hand over Carthena's mouth, and with a slight struggle pulled her over to the shadows at the right hand of the path, while at the same time thrusting this torch beneath an overhanging stone to smother its flickering rays.
Be silent! I can hear footfalls approaching through the tunnel!
Growled... Oh.
Be silent. I can hear footfalls approaching through the tunnel.
Growled Grignir in a hushed tone.
Or that you hear the horses corralled at the far end of the tunnel. That is a further sign that we are nearing our goal,
she stated, apparently talking through his hand.
Well, yeah, he only chlamyed her, so...
Only chlamyed.
This is Grignir, okay.
All that you hear is less than I hear. I heard footsteps coming towards us. Silence yourself that we may find out whom we are being brought into contact with. I doubt that Eddie would have thought as yet of... What the fuck am I saying, Carthena? Do you understand the advantage of surprise with a Z will be upon our side?
Grignir warned. Carthena cast her eyes downward and ceased any further pursuit towards conversation, an irritating habit in which she had gained an amazing proficiency. Two figures came into the pair's view. them around a turn in the tunnel. They were clothed in rich, luxuriant silks and rambling on in conversation while ignorant of their crouching foes waiting in an ambush ahead. That barbarian dog is cringing beneath the weight of the lash at this moment, sire. He shall cause no more disturbance. Aye, and so it is with any who dare to cross the path of Sargon's chosen one, said the second man. But I'm also here, the third guy, but the peasants are showing signs of growing unrest. They complain that they cannot feed their families while burdened with your taxes. Who the fuck is this? This is probably the prince, right?
Maybe. No, it's not.
What did he...
Wait.
Is this guy 4?
I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be. He's ordering an increase on taxes. What did he sound like? A fucking little gremlin?
I don't know.
I shall teach those slugs the meaning of humility. Order an immediate increase upon their taxes. They dare to question my sovereign authority. Aha! They shall soon learn what true oppression can be. I will.
A shadowed bulk leapt from behind a jutting promontory as it brought down a double-edged axe with the spaped of a striking thought. One of the nobles sagged lifeless to the ground, skull split to the teeth. Rignir gasped as he observed the bisected face set in its leering death agonies. It was Agafnid, the dead man's comrade, having recovered from his shock, drew a jewel-encrusted dagger. Who the fuck was Agafnid again?
I think he was the advisor man.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy who was like, don't execute him, put him in the fucking dungeons.
Yeah. The dead man's comrade, having recovered from his shock, drew a jewel-encrusted dagger from beneath the folds of his robe and lunged toward the barbarian's back. Grignir spun at the sound from behind and smashed down his crimsoned axe once more. His antagonist lunged, howling, to a stream of stagnant green water, grasping a spouting stump that had once been a wrist. Grignir raised his axe over his head and prepared to finish the incomplete job, but was deterred halfway through his lunge by a frenzied screech from behind. Carthena leapt to the head of the writhing figure, plunging a smoldering torch into the agonized face. The howls increased in their horrid intensity, stifled by the sizzling of roasting flesh, then died down until the man was reduced to a blubbering mass of squirming, insensate flesh. Grignate Grignate. Am I Grignate?
Am I Gregonate?
Am I Grignir, the barbarian? Advanced to Carthena's side, wincing slightly from the putrid aroma of charred flesh that rose in a puff of thick white smog throughout the chamber. Carthena reeled slightly, staring dazedly downward at her gruesome handiwork.
I had to do it. It was Agaphim. I had to,
she exclaimed.
Here we go. Sargon should be more careful of his right-hand men, added Grignir, a smug grin upon his lips. But to hell with Sargon for now. Wait. I'm reading normally, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Sargon should be more careful of his right-hand men, added Grignir, a smug grin upon his lips. But to hell with Sargon for now. The stench is becoming bothersome to me.
With that, Grignir grasped Carthena around the waist, leading her around the bend in the cave and into the open. A ball of feral red was rising through the mists of the eastern horizon, dissipating the slinking shadows of the night. A coral stood before the pair, enclosing 2 grazing mares. That's a lot of coral. Grignir reached...
They're underwater?
I guess it's an underwater adventure now.
Oh, wow.
Grignir reached into a weighted down leather pouch dangling at his side and drew forth the scintillant red emerald he had obtained from the bloated idol. Raising it toward the sun, he said,
"We shall do well with Bauble,
Carthena gaped at the gem, gasping in a terrified manner.
The Eye of Argon!
Oh, Kala!
At this, the gem gave off a blinding glow, then dribbled through Grigner's fingers in a slimy red ooze. Grigner stepped back, pushing Carthini behind him. The droplets of slime slowly converge into a pulsating jelly-like mass. A single opening transfixed the blob, forming into a leech-like maw. Then the hideous transgressor of nature flowed towards Grigner, a trail of greenish slime lingering behind it. The single gap puckered repeatedly, emitting a ghastly sucking sound. Ew.
What? Christina, what did you do to the gem?
Grigner spread his legs. Oh no.
Oh no.
Into a battle stance. Oh, okay, thank God. Stealing his quivering thews for a battle royale with a thing he knew not how to fight. Wait. Okay, here it is. Carthena wound her arms about her protector's neck, mumbling,
Kill it!
"Kill!" while her entire body trembled. The thing was almost
like he's just wearing her like a fucking cape, and she's like,
Kill him! Do my bidding, kill him! Kill him, Grigner!
The thing was almost upon Grigner when he buried his axe into the gristly maw. Mightn't I the gristle? It passed through the blob and clanged upon the ground. Grigner drew his axe back with a film of yellow-green slime clinging to the blade. The thing was seemingly unaffected. Then it started to sluice up his leg. The hairs upon his nape stewed on end from the slimy feel of the thing's bulky bulk. The Nauthaus sucking sound became louder, and Grigner felt the blood being drawn from his body. With each hiss of hideous pucker, the thing increased in size. Grigner shook his foot about madly in an attempt to dislodge the blob, failing his check for the hokey pokey, but it clung like a leech, still feeding upon his rapidly draining life fluid. He grasped with his hands, trying to rip it off, but only found his hands entangled in a sickly glue-like substance. The slimy thing continued its puckering, now having grown the size of Grigner's leg from its vampiric feast. Wait a minute. How big was this thing to begin with? I thought it was bigger.
I thought it was pretty sizable as was, and now it's the size of a leg. Unless Grigner's leg is like twice as big as this thing already was, in which case Grigner is like 12 and a half feet tall.
Yeah, he's 12 and a half feet tall. He's got like a fucking 22-inch TV thighs.
Oh, hell yeah. CRT.
CRT. Grigner began to reel and stagger under the blob, his chalk-white face and faltering muscles attesting to the gigantic loss of blood. Carthena slipped from Grigner in a death-like faint, a marrow-chilling scream upon her red rubish lips. In a final desperation, Grigner grasped the smoldering torch upon the ground and plunged it into the reeking maw of the travestry. A shudder passed through the thing. Grigner felt the blackness closing upon his eyes, but held on with the last ebb of his rapidly waning vitality. I almost said waning vitality.
Whoa.
You could feel its grip lessening as a hideous gurgling sound erupted from the writhing maw. The jelly-like mass began to bubble like a vat of boiling tar as quivers passed up and down its entire form.
That doesn't make sense. He put the torch out earlier.
You know what? That's true. That's true.
What the fuck, Grigner? End of available copy.
So,
but then the director's cut.
The director's cut, the lost ending. Basically, like, for a long time, the copy that was available, like, the next page wasn't there, but they did find it.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna take the entire director's cut.
Yeah, do it.
With the sloshing plop, the thing fell to the ground, evaporating in a thick scarlet cloud until it retained reattain its original size. It remained thus for a moment as the puckered maw took the shape of a protruding red eyeball, the pupil of which seemed to unravel before it the tale of creation. How a shapeless mass slithered from the quagmires of the stigmatic pool of time only to degenerate into a leprosy of avaricious lust. In that fleeting moment, the grim mystery of life was revealed before Grignar's ensnarled gaze. Help him. His brain isn't suited for this. The eyeball's glare turned to a sudden plea of mercy, a plea for the whole of humanity. Then the blob began to quiver with violent convulsions. The eyeball shattered into 1,000 tiny fragments and evaporated into a curling wisp of scarlet mist. The very ground below the thing began to vibrate and swallow it up with a belch. The thing was gone forever. All that remained was a dark red blotch upon the face of the earth, blotching things up. Blotchingly. It was a blotch. Shaking his head, his shaggy mane to clear the jumbled fragments of his mind, Grignir tossed the limp female over his shoulder, mounting one of the disgruntled mares and leading the other. The weary, scarred barbarian trooted slowly off into the horizon to become a tiny pinpoint in a filtered file of to become pinpoint in a filtered file of swirling blue mist, leaving the nobles, soldiers, and peasants to replace the missing monarch. Long live the king! By Jim.
Winner of the JT Rikosh Award for Excellence. So, having read this thing, how are you holding up?
I fear for my mind moving forward.
You won.
I don't know if I'll retain the same ability to read that I had before today.
Probably not.
Probably not.
It's a risk we all take whenever anybody reads this shit.
It's true, but someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. Half my plate is gone.
Half my milk is gone. I have to use the bathroom something fierce. I'll be back.
Yeah, let's take a quick BRB. We'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Wait.
Fuck, I'm not real.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, now I'm real.
Now you're real.
Oh my god. There was nothingness and darkness, and now I am here. And now I am Brigadier.
You are here. You are Grignir.
Alright, but now we have to read an ancient raccoon text.
Yes.
And we have to decide which one is the original. Because there are a lot of... You're going to find out there are a lot of similarities between the two stories when we read this. So, I brought to tonight's book club The Toe of Skringi, which you may notice there's already a bit of a parallel there. I don't know how you want to display The Toe of Skringi for the stream.
I got it. Alrighty. Are we...
Oh, it's on the little book.
Yeah.
Okay. I honestly, I don't know how to split this up. This thing is a fucking mess. Clearly a raccoon wrote this.
Obviously. Oh, there are some, like, some breaks, but they're few and far in between. Okay, I'll just, I guess we'll just go until whatever.
We'll just wing it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
There once was a barbarian named Grimble. He was very powerful and also had very tiny shoes that hid even tinier feet. Grimble was self-conscious about his tiny little stupid baby feet, so he decided he would set out to find the Toe of Skringi, a magical artifact that would grant any wish and also smelled like Taco Bell.
Grimble traveled to the land of Swoop and asked the king for the item. The king said no, but he did give Grimble a bag of gold. Grimble set out on his quest, but it was all a setup. When he got to the location of the Skringly Toe, a swarm of evil bees attacked him.
Bees!
And now, he had to make a life or death decision. He could either jump off a steep cliff and survive the fall, or he could run in circles and maybe escape bee stings.
Maybe. I wasn't even done reading, I just couldn't fucking... I was laughing too hard.
Slack.
Yeah, thank you. Grimble decided to run in circles and punch bees. He punched and punched bees. A lot of bees. He ran in circles and punched bees for many days. After a few days of punching bees, Grimble got tired and hungry. He stopped to rest. He thought about eating a bee, but when he saw a nice smooth spot on the ground and he decided to nap. When he woke up, he decided to punch more bees. It was a warm day, and the bees seemed very happy. Grimble started to feel a little dizzy from all the punching, but he continued to punch bees. It's been like 3 weeks and he's still punching bees.
Grimble, stop. You have to stop.
You have to stop, Grimble. It's time to get help. Let me see. He ran in circles and punched bees. He punched so many bees that his hands swelled up and he had to stop. There we go.
Oh, at least you stopped.
Grimble rested for a few days. When he woke up, he saw a swarm of bees over his head.
Grimble, don't do it.
Grimble decided to
Grimble, no.
to punch them until they went away.
Grimble, no.
Bad Grimble! Oh, your turn.
This went on for some time. Punching bees. Running in circles. Punching bees. Grimble's hands swelled up. Grimble rested. Grimble rested some more. Grimble rested a lot. This continued for several years before Grimble realized that he had been wasting his life. He had the knowledge that he needed to be a wizard, but he was too lazy to go and get it. All this time punching bees could have been used for something. Grimble had access to vast quantities of bees, but he did not have a hive of his own. He had no bees to make honey or beeswax. He did not have bees to pollinate his crops. Grimble had no use for bees.
He's not a beekeeper.
He realized he wasn't a beekeeper at all. Grimble sat on a large rock and realized that he had wasted his life. He vowed to use his life's knowledge and to use his life's experience and to use his life's bees to become a great wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Then, Grimble did what any self-absorbed barbarian would do. He went into the cave of a nearby dragon and slept for 50 years. Go ahead.
Oh god. When Grimble woke up, he went to the Wizarding College at the University of Ohio. He sat at the back.
The famous Wizarding College.
He sat at the back of the class and did not do any of the assignments. Grimble. He watched the other students do the assignments. The Wizarding College was located in a huge tower. All of the students had to pass an exam at the end of each semester. Some students studied hard, and some students partied and got drunk. Grimble studied hard. He studied really hard. And he studied really hard for his exam. He studied so hard for his exam that he did not party. He did not drink a single drop of alcohol. He wrote down the answers to the test on the back of his hand, and he passed the exam. After passing...
He fucking cheated!
He fucking cheated. That doesn't sound like fucking studying.
Why did he study so hard?
He was studying the answer sheet because he can't read.
Right. He spent all that time learning to read.
After passing the exam, Grimble went out to celebrate. He went to a bar and drank many beers. He continued to drink, and he eventually went outside. He stood on the street and shouted, "I am the greatest wizard that has ever lived!" He continued to shout, "I am the greatest wizard that has ever lived!" until a large group of police officers ran up to him and told him to stop shouting.
He listened. Grimble was drinking very heavily, and he did not stop drinking for the next several months. Grimble, no! He was so drunk one night that he decided to go to the Wizarding Library and look at the books. He wanted to see if there were any books on his personal favorite subject, which was fucking B. He wanted to see if they had any books on the subject of the Scringy Toe. It comes back.
There we go.
Grimble stumbled his way through the library. When he got to the area where the books on the Scringy Toe were kept, he saw a sign that said, "Please use the catalog. The books are on the shelves and not in stacks. Please do not punch any of the books." Grimble was surprised. He punched the sign. The sound of smashing glass echoed throughout the library. Grimble continued to punch the books. Grimble! How could this happen? He did not stop when he heard the sound of running footsteps coming from the direction of the door. The next thing Grimble knew, he was in a jail cell.
Oh god.
He had broken into the library and punched over 250 books. The police wanted to press charges.
Holy fuck.
Grimble, I can't believe you relapsed.
I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this.
Grimble's trial was the talk of the town. Oh god. I can hear Dizzy scream laughing in the back. Grimble's trial was the talk of the town. Everyone wanted to hear the story of how a single man had punched so many books that he had destroyed the library. Grimble did not have a defense. He did not even have an attorney. He did not have the money for an attorney. He was found guilty and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The judge said, "You may go." Grimble was taken to the prison van and driven away. He did not say a word. He just kept his head down and looked at the floor. It was very dark in the van. Grimble could not see anything. He was terrified. The next morning, he was taken to the jail where he was to begin his sentence. He entered the jail and they took his belongings. His slinky, his tiny shoes.
The slinky!
Sat in his cell and thought about what he would miss the most.
His cellmate asked him what he was going to miss the most. Grimble was scared that his cellmate could read his mind. He thought about it, and he decided that he was gonna miss punching bees. His cellmate said, "You'll get over it." He didn't read his mind! He fucking did! I'm fucking sweating. Grimble said, "I hope so." Grimble looked down at his tiny feet, ashamed. He missed his tiny shoes the most. They took him to a large room where they put new prisoners. He sat down and looked at the people around him. Most of them looked scared. The other prisoners had heard stories of all the bees and bugs Grimble had punched. A man walked up to Grimble and said, "Look at that stupid face. Look at that stupid look on your face." Grimble just laughed. The man said, "If you laugh one more time, I'm going to kill you." Grimble said, "I was just thinking how happy I am to be out of prison."
What?
You're still here, Grimble! You have to wake up.
I'm fucking crying.
The man said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." Grimble said, "Why? I did nothing wrong." The man said, "You stole my stuff." Grimble said, "I did not." The man reached into Grimble's pocket and pulled out a 2014 Ford F-150 with custom tires and a lifted chassis. It also had a roll cage, a racing seat, and a set of LED headlights.
Holy fuck! Oh shit! Oh my god!
I can't believe you've done this, Grimble.
The man said, "Then how do you explain this?" Grimble said, "That truck is not mine." The man said, "You're right, it's mine." Grimble said, "I don't know anything about it." The man shook his head and said, "You better start thinking of a plan to get your stuff back if you don't want me to tell the warden about this." Grimble sat down on the floor and thought hard. He decided that he could either try to get his stuff back, try to get out of his punishment, or try to avoid punishment. You know what? This is very closely resembling the Eye of Argon.
I'm telling you, it's very oddly close.
God. Grimble decided that he had to get his slinky back. Grimble got up and went to the man. He told the man that he had not stolen his truck. The man said, "Oh really? Let's see if the cops will believe you." Grimble walked over to the police station.
He's out, he did it.
The police gave Grimble a ride in a police car back to the jail.
Oh fuck, he's back.
When Grimble got back to the jail, the man was waiting for him. The man said, "I'm going to tell the warden that you were lying to the police about stealing my truck." Grimble sat down on his bunk and started to cry.
Oh fuck.
The man approached him and Grimble smiled. He had secretly been holding his slinky behind his back. He got it.
He got the rat pelvis.
He got the rat pelvis. Grimble took his slinky and put it in his mouth. What are you doing? Grimble said, "I'm going to harvest the slinky spoil," because there was a slinky in his mouth. Oh god, your turn.
The man said, "What did you say?" Grimble said, "I said it's a slinky in my mouth." The man said, "What did he say?" "I'm casting a slinky spell," said the slinky. The man was amazed. He was even more amazed when Grimble cast a spell that caused the police to believe it. The police did not arrest Grimble. The police released Grimble, Slinky, and the 2014 Ford F-150 while the man watched from a window. The man was furious. He had sold the truck for $6,000. He had sold the custom tires for $500 and the LED headlights for $100. He was furious. With this new party in tow, Grimble set off to find his friends and his home.
Holy fuck! 1 year later. Excuse me. Grimble and his friends had just made it to his house after a hard day's or hour's work. Grimble put pizza rolls in the microwave while Slinky sat on the couch. He was bored. Slinky is a character now.
Yup.
The microwave dinged. Grimble took out his pizza rolls and put them on the plate. He cut them up and put them in a toaster. He turned on the TV and sat down on the couch. The TV was on a local news station. A news anchor said, "Breaking news, this just in. We have just learned that a large hive of bees has been discovered on the roof of a house on Oak Street. So far, the owner has not claimed responsibility for the hive. The bees have been described as being the size of baseballs, and it is believed that they are responsible for the destruction of a school bus several weeks ago."
Fucking bees.
What the fuck? Again, this is a developing story. Stay tuned for updates. We will bring you any reports as they come in. Grimble said, "Well..." Grimble, no. He grabbed his slinky and got up. He took a few steps towards the TV and said, "I'm gonna go check the bees out." Slinky said, "Grimble, no." Grimble said, "I have to see if they're okay." Grimble, no. Grimble frowned and broke eye contact with Slinky. He said, "I'm sorry. I'll be right back." Grimble walked out of the room.
Grimble walked out of his house. He headed towards the hive. A swarm of bees came at him. The bees covered him from head to toe. Grimble tried to run, but he got stung all over his body. He screamed. The bees kept coming. Grimble ran. He ran into a tree. He kept screaming. Grimble kept screaming. He ran out of breath. The bees kept coming. Grimble was dead. Slinky walked out of his house. He said, "Grimble, no." Slinky sat down on the curb and cried.
2 years later, Grimble was now 15 years old. So we've been reading about a 13-year-old the whole time.
Yeah. You went to college.
You went to college at fucking 13. The school talent show was coming up in 2 weeks. He graduated college.
I have to clarify, this is the one time I had to majorly interject with the AI to get it to do something. I gave it the prompt, the school talent show is coming up in 2 weeks.
Oh god. Grimble had joined a band. The band was pretty cool. The band had 2 guitars, a bass guitar, a drummer, and Grimble on the saxophone. The band had practiced for 6 months. The band was practicing hard. Their last practice was yesterday. Grimble went into the garage. He grabbed his saxophone. Grimble walked into the living room. His mom was on the couch. She said, "Hi, Grimble, how was school today?" Grimble said, "It was good." He put his saxophone down on the couch. "How was band practice?" she said. Grimble said, "It was great." Do you know if you're gonna win at the talent show?" she said. Grimble said, "Yes." "What's the band's name?" she said. Grimble said, "Oh, I don't remember." "Oh, come on, you can tell me," she insisted. It's Grimble and the Bees, muttered Grimble. "Oh, that's a nice name. And you're on the saxophone. That's a unique instrument." "Thanks, Mom," said Grimble. "How is it playing in a rock band?" she said. "It was great," said Grimble. "You think you'll win?" "I hope so," said Grimble. "Well, good luck," she said. Grimble left the house. He went over to the garage. He put his saxophone on the workbench. He put his bass guitar on the workbench. He put his electric guitar on the workbench. He put his drums on the workbench. He said, "Well, guys, I think practice is over." Here, you can take over.
Slinky walked over. He said, "Grimble, no." Grimble said, "I'm sorry. That was rude of me." Slinky said, "It's fine. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." Grimble said, "Thanks." Grimble grabbed his saxophone. "What are you doing?" said Slinky. "I'm gonna practice," said Grimble. Slinky said, "But what if your parents come back?" "What if they do?" said Grimble. "Well, they can't stop me." "You don't know how to play," said Slinky. "I never said I was good at anything," said Grimble. Slinky said, "I know you're good at music." "Thanks," said Grimble. "But you don't play very well, said Slinky. It's okay, said Grimble. Grimble practiced for 2 hours. It was time for the talent show.
Oh, that was fast.
Grimble and his band were getting ready. They rehearsed their songs until they were perfect. They rehearsed their dance moves until they were perfect. They rehearsed their costumes until they were perfect.
Wait.
Grimble, they rehearsed their costumes, you know, as they do.
The only
They
people
rehearsed
we
their
know about is Grimble and Slinky and a bunch of instruments. Is it just him?
Grimble and his band were ready. We'll be on stage in 5 minutes, said Grimble. The judges arrived. Grimble, you're up, said one of the judges. Thank you, said Grimble. Grimble walked up to the stage. He took a deep breath. He walked over to the band. Play, he said. The band started playing. Grimble played his saxophone. The lights went down. The judges watched the show. That was the worst saxophone playing I've ever heard, said one of the judges. I have to say, Grimble, you really fucked over the entire band, said another judge. I'm still feeling the sting, said another judge. That was the worst band I've ever seen, said another judge. You killed the band, said another judge. What's going on? Said Grimble. You forgot your saxophone, said one of the judges. Oh, said Grimble. And the band, said another judge. And the dancing, said another judge. And the costumes, said another judge. And said another judge. Music, said another judge. The council of judges had spoken, and Grimble was crushed. Grimble was alone on stage. That's it, said Grimble. He walked off stage. He sat down. He began to cry.
So he just went out there with nothing and just said,
Yes.
Play! And that was it.
And then 3 minutes passed, and then they were like, that was terrible. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Grimble and the bees played their last song, but there were no bees. We killed the band, said Grimble. No, you killed the band, said Slinky. How could I forget my saxophone, said Grimble. Grimble, don't cry, said Slinky. What can I do, said Grimble. What are you crying about, said Slinky. The talent show, said Grimble. It's okay, said Slinky. It's not okay, said Grimble. Grimble, do you remember how bad you played, said Slinky. I can't remember, said Grimble. It was awful, said Slinky. It was horrible, said Slinky. I can't believe I allowed this, said Grimble. Grimble, it's fine, said Slinky. I want out, said Grimble. That's ridiculous, said Slinky. No, Slinky, I'm serious. I want out of the band. Grimble, do you even like music, said Slinky. I don't really know, said Grimble. I think you do, said Slinky. Do I? said Grimble. Grimble, music means everything to me, said Slinky. I want you to stay with the band, said Slinky. What about the bees? said Grimble. We can find new bees, said Slinky. I'll think about it, said Grimble. We'll figure this out, said Slinky. Thank you, said Grimble. Slinky walked off stage. They had this entire conversation on stage.
After he walked off stage and then sat down, and then Slinky, I guess, brought him back up on stage to have this conversation, yeah.
He had a big decision to make. Should he look for the bees, or find new members for the band? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
That's the last page they had. They're still looking for the lost one.
Oh my god! Boomba! Boomba raided!
Oh, hello.
Thank you for the raid, Boomba! You guys missed literally everything.
It's true. All the milk has been drunk. All the brownies and plate have been eaten.
Mm-hmm.
All the stories told.
Oh yeah. While we're here, Bebop, I want to show you your little custom commands.
Okay.
So if you want to unmute the Discord stream really quick, I can show them to you. Wait, I did that wrong.
Oh,
Hey.
shit.
How's it going?
You got 3 of these.
The raccoons know. 1, whole world is garbage. 2, also garbage is delicious.
Oh my god, I know him.
So yeah, you got those.
Those are very lovely, thank you. I think those are pretty much a accurate representation of everything I am, honestly.
Yes. Yes. I nailed it.
Is that a bald rat? It is one of them.
Mm-hmm. It is a bald rat.
Yeah.
I don't know whose it is. I don't know who it is. He's just there.
I don't know how he got here. That's it. That's the end of that statement. I just don't know how he got here.
Oh man. Do you have anything else cursed you would like to share with us, Bebop?
Not that I can think of. No, I don't think so.
Well, I guess we can read a couple more, maybe Chuck Tingle synopses.
What?
Just wind down with a little bit of Tingleverse stuff.
A little bit of tingle in my life.
Yeah.
A little bit of tingle by my side. A little bit of tingle is all I need.
A little bit of tingle. Let's do 4, and we'll switch off between them. So there's yours.
Thank you. All right. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, which I'm sure is most of you, don't laugh. This is very serious. All right, now that that disclaimer is out of the way, I'm going to be reading a synopsis of a book, really a piece of art by Chuck Tingle. The book is called Not Pounded by Anything, 6 Platonic Tales of Non-Sexual Encounters. So you don't have to worry, this one is purely non-sexual. Here's the synopsis, it's very long, prepare. Across the wide world of the Tingleverse, one thing is clear, love is real. But for many buckaroos, their preferred kind of love has nothing to do with sex. Whether asexual or just not feeling it at the moment, the collection of completely sexless tales is perfect for the desires of any readers who are looking for a non-sexual trip through the alternate timelines of Dr. Chuck Tingle. Not pounded in the butt by anything, and that's okay. This is the first in the anthology. When Ken starts his day late for a very important presentation at work, he has no idea how much this small mistake will change the rest of his life. Soon enough, the handsome man is having several platonic encounters with a unicorn butt cop, his Bigfoot boss, and a shirtless dinosaur librarian. Eventually, Ken finds himself on a dinner date with the muscular dinosaur, feasting on a home-cooked meal as the two enjoy each other's presence. But is their connection simply friendship, or something romantic? One thing's for sure, it is definitely not sexual. And that's okay. So the second one in this anthology is Not Pounded in the Butt by my book. Not Pounded in the Butt by anything, and that's okay. And that's okay. World famous author Luck Dingle, not to be confused with Chuck Tingle, needs a vacation. Taking a break from the cold of Billings, Luck travels to Hawaii only to discover that the sentient physical manifestation of his latest book, Not Pounded in the Butt by Anything, and That's Okay, has embarked on a similar journey. So that's the second one there. The next title, don't get confused here. Now, I know this might get a little confusing, but don't get confused. The next title is Not Pounded at the Last Second, because consent can be given and revoked at any moment, and this is a wonderful thing that's important to understand. So the synopsis for this one is Blip is on the way to a whitewater rafting trip, but he's nervous about the adventure before it even begins. Fortunately, Blip finds himself with a wonderful and patient guide, a handsome Bigfoot named Garto Grims, who explains that while the river may seem like there's only one path to take, there are actually several forks in the road, and it's always okay to stop entirely. As the attraction between Blip and Garto mounts, they suddenly find themselves locked in the heat of passion, and when Blip suddenly changes his mind about the encounter, he quickly learns that's okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. This is a lot of text that isn't broken up at all by paragraphs. The next one is dressed up handsome and not pounded because cosplay is not consent. Clippo loves science fiction, fantasy, and comic books, but he's never managed to make it to a convention. Until now. This weekend, Clippo and his friend Jorn are headed to TingleCon, dressed up real handsome and excited to show off their new outfits. But when someone approaches Clippo inappropriately, security is quickly called. With the T-Rex head of security as his guide, Clippo has a front row Clippo has a front row seat in observing the world of self-entitled morons who think cosplay is consent. Clippo witnesses a variety of tests that prove time and time again these idiotic men have no idea what they're talking about. The next one is Nice Guy Dinosaur doesn't pound me in the butt because I'm not interested, and he's not actually nice. He's just annoying and creepy and doesn't respect my boundaries when I tell him we're not on a date.
To clarify, he's annoying and creepy.
Oh, excuse me. He is annoying and creepy, not creepy. I revoked the previous statement. When Montan learns that his local comic shop is holding a tournament for one of his favorite old school video games, he desperately wants to go. Unfortunately, tickets have been sold out for a while, but when a fedora-wearing dinosaur named Prenko overhears Montan's dilemma, he offers an extra ticket. So that one is a little more vague. You're going to have to read to get the full story for that one. And the final story...
It sounds like a nice guy plot.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely expect some your expectations to be subverted in this one. Expect characters to not really seem or be how they seem. Keep an eye out for that. I'm filled with so much milk right now. The final story.
Sorry. Also, TV Head wants to know: are you secretly Chuck Tingle?
So the final story in the anthology is not pounded by the physical manifestation of my need to please everyone, because sometimes it's okay to give back to yourself. So the synopsis here is Joey likes to help the people around him, and he's proud of that fact. But after fainting at work from exhaustion, the man begins to realize that he might be wearing himself out. Unfortunately, when the physical manifestation of Joey's need to please everyone around him shows up, things go from bad to worse.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. All right. I will read the next one. It is much shorter. I am so sorry.
Okay.
The idiom about comparing apples to oranges gets me off bisexually, but also confuses me because apples and oranges can be easily compared. By Chuck Tingle. On a routine trip to the grocery store, Scott suddenly finds himself faced with an unexpected decision. He usually buys chocolate cashew milk, but the cherry vanilla spaghetti milk has caught his eye. Looking for guidance, Scott asks the opinion of a fellow shopped, who responds with, "It's like comparing apples to oranges." Unsatisfied with this response and hoping to unravel the meaning behind it, Scott starts questioning everything. Soon enough, he's in the produce section, directly asking sentient apples and oranges, hoping to unravel the age-old enigma of this confusing idiom. As erotic tension starts to build between Scott and these sentient bisexual fruits, he begins to realize this mysterious journey is more carnal than he once thought. This erotic tale is 4,200 words of sizzling bisexual human on living apple and orange threesome action.
That one has a whole 100 more words than the ones we read at the beginning. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck. All right. Mine is bisexual Mothman mailman makes a special delivery in our butts. Cooper and his wife Ivy have been swamped with work, barely able to leave the house as they type away on their laptops in separate rooms. They typically find adventure in globe-trotting travel, but with the arrival of a handsome new Mothman mailman named Indrid, they suddenly find the adventure coming to them. Realizing that this handsome cryptid is flirting back, the couple soon begin to order more and more parcels, culminating in an erotic bisexual delivery that's certain to bring some first-class stimulation to your package. This erotic tale is 4,200 words of sizzling bisexual human on handsome Mothman threesome action.
Excellent. And here is my next one. Scary stories to tingle your butt. 7 tales of gay terror. In the dead of night comes a terrifying scream, not of fear, but of hardcore gay passion between a man and the gay Bigfoot that haunts his balls. If your butt is already tingling as ferociously as ours, then this is the collection for you. Presenting Chuck Tingle's Scary Stories to Tingle Your Butt, a 7-book collection of the most bone-chilling tales to ever harden your bone. Within, you will find the following masterworks of modern literature. Bigfoot Pirates Haunt My Balls. Vampire Night Bus Pounds My Butt. Angry Man Pounded by the Fear of His Latent Gayness Over a Dinosaur Transitioning into a Unicorn. My Ass is Haunted by the Gay Unicorn Colonel. The State of California Stalks My Gay Butthole. The Curse of the Bigfoot Butt Camp. And Reamed by My Reaction to the Title of This Book.
That one sounds like quite the collection.
It does. Reader beware, you're in for a boner.
You are beware.
Oh god, there's several, volumes of this thing.
Well, yeah.
Oh, Scary Stories to Tingle Your Lesbian Butt. Ooh.
I'm looking more for 10 scary stories to tingle your bisexual T-Rex butt.
I would not be surprised if he actually had that. Okay, I have one more for you.
Okay. Sorry, I got distracted because I found a book called All He Wants for Christmas is a Fingerling.
Oh god.
Alright, my new Chuck Tingle presentation is pounded by the physical manifestation of the weird, dull sadness that happens after the holidays end and January rolls around. This one might hit a little close to home. As the new year begins, Tyler finds himself feeling unusually down. The excitement and novelty of the winter holidays has fallen away, leaving a cold chill in the air and a strange living concept on Tyler's apartment couch. This is Bork, the physical manifestation of the weird, dull sadness that happens after the holidays end and January rolls around. Tyler tries his best to ignore Bork, filling his days with activity, but unfortunately this manifestation seems to follow Tyler wherever he goes. It's not until Tyler actually confronts his lonesome mood head-on that he makes an important discovery. Maybe feeling a little down sometimes is normal. Now, Tyler and Bork are realizing there's more to the tension between them than just seasonal sadness, and they're ready to work it out with a hardcore anal pounding. This erotic tale is 4,200 words of sizzling human on lonesome feeling action, including anal, blowjobs, rough sex, and gay living concept love.
Man.
That feeling when the holidays are over and Bork is on your couch and Bork is looking kind of good.
I don't know about you, but I'd call the Ghostbusters.
I don't know. He looks friendly. I don't know. His smirk is kind of. Yeah, he looks like he's up to no good. That's a red flag, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bork. You gotta go.
Yeah, sorry, Owlin. This is no longer platonic fiction.
Yeah, we moved past that after we got done with the books that don't pound my butt.
I like Chuck Tingle's author portrait.
Yeah, you don't really know, like, anyone could be under there, you know? Like, It could be like a funny guy, it could be like An animal. Like a possum or something.
Like in full color, it's just like it looks like a pink pillowcase, but on the stream I've got like a black and white filter over it, so it looks like a fucking like serial killer portrait.
Oh my god, you're right. Jesus.
We caught a rare photo of the butt busher. Oh my god.
We caught him. Have you seen this man? If you have any information about this man.
It's 11 p.m. Do you know where your butt is?
What else? What's that one show? This is like completely off topic at this point.
Yeah,
What's that one show with the guy who like recounts a little story and it's like a fictionalization of a crime? Unsolved Mysteries, that's it, right?
Probably.
And the guy's narrating it, and at the end he's always like, but I don't know. No. Okay, this is completely incoherent to everyone else. I realize that, but I'm working through this out loud now. There was a show where a guy would tell you about crimes, and then you would have to guess which ones were real and which ones were not.
Wait. Was that Jonathan Frakes? And he's like, that was not real.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it. We solved it.
We did it.
Oh yeah, TV Head is like a beyond belief fact or fiction.
That's what it's called.
Oh.
We got there.
Oh man. The roof of my mouth is like
Pure chocolate?
It's sludge up there. It's like a solid oil slick that I'm gonna need to scrape off with a spoon later.
Oh, you have like a little snack then?
Yeah.
A little after-story snack.
A little now and later.
My macaroni and cheese is a lesbian. Also, she is my lawyer. Okay.
All I want for Christmas is to eat out my Christmas tree.
Amen. Pounded in the butt by my own butt.
Oh, this is topical. The physical manifestation of Twitter's rapid descent into chaos thanks to inept management from a man-baby edgelord pounds me in the butt.
Wow, Chuck Tingle's really on top of it, huh? Cranks them out.
Shit, I'm gonna read this one really quick. When Robbie receives an unexpected call that his favorite social media platform, Twitter, is in the hospital, he doesn't know what to expect. Upon visiting, Robbie quickly learns that Twitter has a case of billionaire man-baby edgelord CEO, which is likely fatal. Realizing this might be their last chance to talk, Twitter and Robbie are forced to discuss all the things that have been simmering below the surface of their relationship. It's only after this deep talk that two of them realize their true fondness for one another. In Twitter's final moments, he reveals one last way to revitalize his platform, and while this bump in social media activity may not last, it's enough for the two of them to go out with a hardcore erotic bang. This erotic tale is 4,400 words of sizzling gay human on failing social media platform, including anal blowjobs, rough sex, and Twitter collapse love.
No, not Twitter collapse love.
Anything but that. Sentient sour cream and applesauce bisexually get me off for Hanukkah.
It's kind of relatable.
Kinda. Sounds like a dream I had once.
Absolutely no thoughts of pounding during my fun day with this kind T-Rex because I'm aromantic and asexual, and that's a wonderfully valid way of proving love is real.
I notice he has like a decent percentage of dinosaurs in his texts.
I think that's just a coincidence. I don't think there's that many dinosaurs.
Yeah, fair enough. So, on a scale of 1 to bloated tick, how are you on chocolate milk?
Vomiting as soon as the stream ends, probably.
Ah, gotcha. In which case, I won't keep you from the bathroom very much longer.
Oh, I'm not going to the bathroom.
Oh.
I prepared a special trash can with a very fancy trash bag in it.
Oh, very clever. Very, very forward thinking.
Exactly. I knew that if I did happen to expel the milk during the reading, that I would soldier on and continue reading without a single pause.
I salute you, sir. You are very valiant.
Thank you.
All right. I think this about wraps things up. I want to thank everybody who came to our little reading time. I hope you've all been educated and we've all lost a sufficient amount of brain cells during this pursuit. You want to say anything else before we go?
No.
Okay. We're not raiding anybody because it's 12:30 a.m. on a fucking weekday. Go to bed. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wah.